Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shack News Presents Pop Goes the Culture, episode 164. We are here on June 12th, 2025. I am Donovan Erskine, news editor at Shack News, and I'm joined, as always, by Greg Burke, our illustrious head of video.
Hello.
Greg, it has been a long time since we've done one of these, buddy. Can you believe our last Pop Goes the Culture was before we went to Orlando, Florida for Universal Epic Universe?
Yeah, it's been quite a summer. this year been quite the summer and spring.
Yeah. Um, we have done a lot since the last time we did this show, Greg. We did, like I said, Universal Epic Universe. We went to the grand opening of that. It was a very cool thing we did. We've got videos all over our YouTube channel for it. But that was not all. We also had was PAX East before. I know PAX East was before that. We did a show, I think, between or maybe we didn't do a show after PAX East. But that was a me and Ozzy thing. And then just this past weekend, me, you, and Ozzy all teamed up in Southern California for Summer Frickin' Game Fest, which was my first time going to Summer Game Fest. It was you and Ozzy's fourth, fifth, a millionth time going.
Yeah.
And
Because
I
I'm
got
so old.
to yeah, like I got to sit in the audience and watch the actual Summer Game Fest presentation, like in the theater at the YouTube theater, which was pretty cool with Jeff Keighley and friends. First impression, way louder than you think in real life. Holy hell, it was really loud. Like if there were a lot of children in that theater, which one that was really confusing to me, but two, I was like, their parents need to like give them earplugs.
Are you sure they weren't
It
influencers, Donovan?
no, these were like people who came in with their parents and were
Okay.
like kids, and I was like, after some of those trailers rolled, I was like, I don't know if you guys knew what kind of event you're bringing your kids to, but still, it's loud as hell. I was like, Jesus Christ, especially some of those bigger trailers. Resident Evil 9, I got to watch Resident Evil 9 get released, which, hey, let the record show that Donovan Erskine has been in attendance for two Resident Evil game announcements now. I was there in 2018, I think, when Sony announced RE2 Remake at the Sony showcase. I still remember the trailer with the little rat crawling on the shelf,
Yeah,
and you
that
see
was you
Leon
played you
Kennedy.
played Spider-Man after that too. That was the
I played
same.
Spider-Man right there. That was crazy because they opened the gates outside and it was like watching like the heavens gates part for me, and I just saw the Spider-Man kiosk and I ran to it. I was there when they announced RE2 remake, and I was there when they announced RE9 Requiem, which people were kind of mad about that reveal because Capcom did the fake out where they were like earlier in the showcase they were like, "Hey, we need a little bit more time to cook on the next Resident Evil game. We'll share more when we can," which implies that they're not showing anything today. And then of course at the end, one more thing they revealed that no, that we're ready. This is RE9. It's coming in February. People like didn't like the fake out. I thought it was fun. Let's have fun for once with a showcase. God forbid Capcom wants to be cheeky and have some goddamn fun. When did we all become business executives in suits? Have fun. Let it be silly. I thought it
We're
was a
not
fun
allowed
thing.
to. It's
I'd
not
do
allowed
the
to be
same
fun
thing.
anymore. It has to be serious, and it
Yeah.
has to have like a 6-month marketing plan, and we hold embargo till after the live stream is over and all the questions have been answered.
They pulled your legs. It was funny. You got caught. It was a cool little switcheroo. I like
Got
that. It
him.
was keep us on the toes.
Got. And I figured I pictured you to think like, okay, I'm gonna start getting out of here before every. Oh, one more thing. I should probably record this.
I have watched way too many video game showcases, way too many video game showcases to leave before the one more thing. Tuning out of a showcase before the one more thing would be like walking out of the theater at the end of like a comic book movie before like the credits. Like there's more. It's not the end.
Yeah, it's a
Like so
thing
yeah,
now.
as soon as Jeff Keighley he started his monologue, right, where he's like, "Thank you everybody for being here, a lot of these games were from smaller studios, but we do have what," and by this point I'm already recording because I can tell he's doing the like emotional build-up thing. It's like, "We have one more thing, and I am so grateful to the Lord in the heavens above that we could bring you this game reveal today here at Summer Game Fest." And at this point, me and Ozzy are like, "All right, what is it?" And it starts off, and in hindsight, it was so obviously Resident Evil because the second you see uh the art style where they're in the FBI office and it's Grace Ashcroft and it's like RE Engine has a look to it. It is not a bad look, but it has a look to it. Although I didn't catch any of that. And apparently Ashcroft is like the name of another character from RE Sinister Waves Electric Boogaloo from like 2005 or whatever.
It's one of the
Uh
name like one of the not one of the founders, but one of the people involved with like Umbrella. If I
right.
remember, yeah, I think it's from
So
Veronica. I believe it's where they introduced Code Veronica.
Yeah, so a lot of people clocked that reveal pretty early. I didn't until I saw the RPD sign. But boy, I got the recording when they showed the RPD building,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, "Oh!" Everybody kind of doing the surprise at once. RA9 Requiem, which is gonna let you do first and third person, which is cool as hell. Because first person RE games make me want to cry. So I'll see you guys in February for that one. That'll be good. But Summer Game Fest was fun. Played some cool games. I've been writing previews nonstop. I'm like grabbing a news story and then writing 3 previews. Is pretty much like my cadence at this point. Um, Mixtape, Absolum, Spine, Adventures of Samsara, End of Abyss. So many video games, Greg, that we got to see. But I had a good time. What
Yeah, I
about
mean,
you?
I did too, except for like now we're home and like the embargo information. There's only a few
Except
that
for
are
now
like
we're
are
on.
kind of wonky, but like there's stuff we saw there we still can't talk about until like the 18th, and then like one in August 2nd. Like, it's very weird.
I have an August embargo, yeah.
Yeah, very very weird.
That's okay. That's good news to me. There's nothing I love more than coming back from like a showcase or an industry event and seeing that something's embargoed for like 3 weeks from now, because it means I don't have to bust my ass to write it
No,
right
right.
now.
No, the idea for people who don't know what that is, like, the embargoes means you can't post any news until a specific time and date, and it's great when you need time to cover footage. It also creates an even ground for all the outlets to get their coverage at the same time. But what I don't like about Donovan is like when it's clearly set for like some to end in some marketing campaign or some live stream event, and then it goes up. Like, that's what I don't like. Like, time to prep it is great, but when it's deliberately made to like go after your live stream you want 4 weeks from now, that's what sucks.
Well, they're PR, it's marketing.
I
Why
guess,
would they
yeah.
do anything other than their jobs?
That's true.
That's that's all it is. You know, it'd be like if somebody tweeted their Shack News Indie Showcase trailer like 2 hours before we went live. We'd be like, what the fuck? But never mind, they're just getting it out. Um, so yeah, it is what it is. But it's been a good time. It was a very good time. I hope to go back at some point in the future. But we're not going to talk about freaking video games here. Maybe we'll spin the circle back and talk some Epic Universe later. But I want to get into our run of show, Greg, because we've got some interesting topics to discuss today.
Yeah.
One of which I actually had on our run of show for a previous show we were going to do that we ended up postponing. But it's still worth talking about because it's big enough entertainment news. The Harry Potter series over on HBO, Greg, has cast Harry, Ron, and Hermione. So this was the big one, right? Like they announced they were doing this show 2, 3 years ago at this point. It's been a slow drip feed of like, here's Dumbledore, it's gonna be Jonathan Lithgow, and then Snape's gonna be this actor, and we're doing this. They've been casting all those ancillary side characters, but everyone was waiting for them to get to the core three: Harry, Ron, Hermione. I imagine if you're the casting director for this show, this is like your Game 7 NBA Finals, 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. You got to be as clutch and as good as possible because you are stepping into the shoes of what many people still believe to be the greatest casting, at least of minors, of children, in a movie ever, with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint. So we finally have our trio. I'll give you their names here. Dominic McLaughlin is Harry Potter. Arabella Stanton is Hermione Granger, and Alistair Stout is Ron Weasley. Those kids, they kind of already sound like Harry Potter characters. I'm assuming they're British. These are all obviously new actors.
I don't know. That was
But
that was a rule for the
yeah.
films, right? Like I think like J.K. said that they all the actors had to be British or had to be from the UK or
They didn't want
Europe.
any stupid fat Americans in
Yeah, there were
there.
no American casting was allowed, I believe. So they all,
Yeah,
that was a rule. Like that was an actual rule. So
it is
maybe
what it
they
is.
opened it up differently this
They
time.
come
I have
over
no
here,
clue.
take all our acting jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
kidding. Just kidding, guys.
Could you imagine you're like
Look,
sitting in the casting, you're like behind like in the auditions, and you're in the backstage, you're like, hello, governor. No, that's too much. Hello, governor. No, that's too much again. You're like,
I was gonna say, I know that they like auditioned like 1,000 people for that movie. I wonder if like there was like a handful of American kids in there who were doing like their best British accent, trying to be like, "Oh no, my name's uh Michael. I'm from
Nigel, my name's
Westminster."
Nigel.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Um.
Johnny, get out of here. You know, like
Yeah. But Jesus Christ, speaking of auditions, Greg, this article says that more than 30,000 actors auditioned for the roles in the show, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. So good for these kids. They must have killed it to emerge from a group of 30,000 people trying to do anything. It's like the ultimate battle royale. So good for them. Obviously, they're all new actors. They're children. Um, Good for them. I mean, what a crazy, unbelievable opportunity that has to be for a young, aspiring actor and their families. So um, best of luck to them. It'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Obviously, there's a whole other conversation to have about the existence of a Harry Potter TV show and the reboot of it all, the J.K. Rowling of it all. none of that has anything to do with these kids. They're just actors who are now getting the biggest break you could ever want in your entire lifetime. So that's good for them. Um,
But
Curious to
Nicole
see how it
wasn't
turns
thrilled
out.
about the Harry Potter casting. I'll tell you why. Because Nicole's a stickler for like book accuracy. And she was like, "Why can't they have a Harry Potter whose hair is black? Because his hair is jet black. It's like a black hair in the book, and then in both movies and this show, it's
Oh
now
yeah, I remember
brown."
on Death Hallows he
And that,
was
but
like
I mean, I
just
know
like
it's a
all
stupid thing,
black.
but I think that some people are really focused on like, oh, it's jet black hair, not brown. But like, I mean, you could dye
I
it, but
mean, this
then
is Percy Jackson fans did the same thing when they
yeah,
announced the movie because Logan Lerman, who played him in the movie, has blue eyes, and then in the books they're like Percy has sea green eyes. That was the whole thing was sea green because he was the son of Poseidon. His eyes were blue. I think everybody will get over it because it doesn't matter. But it's fair to bring up. You know, they're clearly trying to do something different and go offbeat with the show at least a little bit. We've saw they've already race bent. We've got a black actor playing Professor Snape. So yeah, they're clearly trying to do a little zigzaggy with some of these castings. So good luck to the people involved. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. I'm
I
sure
hope
this
the
is going
kids
to be an
connect because because
unbelievable.
like the
Okay,
Percy
they have
Jackson
to, right?
kids were a little rough. They were a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, you'd be nice to
I am being nice.
nice
I'm saying they're
to
just a little
this.
rough. You know what I mean? Like I get it. You know, it could probably like this could be their probably first really big paid acting gig. You just
I have to imagine out of 30,000
that-
actors, if they won out of 30,000 actors, I'm gonna imagine they could act their way out of a paper bag. There has to be a way. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of it comes down to directing. That was what I put the blame on for Percy Jackson, to be honest. I don't know who's directing the episodes of the Harry Potter show. Um, I do hope that Warner Brothers gives these kids proper care and support, because we know how weird fanboys are about adaptations and casts and stuff being different. And I'm sure I obviously don't think these kids are going to be on social media, but people are going to say really weird and strange things about them. I hope that Warner Brothers puts an effort in. We've seen time and time again with these big franchises. You look at the shit that like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley got in Star Wars and whatnot, and how Disney kind of just
oh
left them
yeah.
out to fucking dry and get mauled by wolves on the internet for the better part of a decade with that series. Like I just hope that they have a plan in place from a PR side to keep these kids far away from all the toxicity that's going to come with a Harry Potter reboot. But to move on to the next topic, good for them, and we'll talk about this when the time comes once they actually make the show. Speaking of actually making things, Greg, this is a I'll go ahead and call it a breaking news story because this came out within the last couple hours. Spaceballs 2 is coming out in 2027. So, you know, the internet's all being like, hey, they just announced Spaceballs 2. If you watch Pop Goes the Culture, they announced Spaceballs 2 like 8 months ago.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
now
yeah.
but now we have more concrete details about it because Bill Pullman's coming back, but that's bearing the lead. Rick Moranis is coming back to play Darth Helmet, who, for people counting at home, Rick Moranis has been retired from acting in movies since 2006, since Brother Bear 2, which is actually a good movie, by the way. He has not acted in going on 2 decades, and it'll have been 21 years by the time Spaceballs 2 comes out, which, say what you want about this movie's existence, that's pretty cool. I always think it's cool when like an actor comes out of retirement or an artist comes out of retirement for a project that they're interested in doing. They're adding Kiki Palmer to the cast. We love Kiki Palmer. She's great. She's hilarious. As a 2000s kid, I grew up watching Kiki Palmer on TV. True Jackson VP, Aquila and the Bee. She was in all sorts of stuff. And she recently did a comedy this year with SZA called One of Them Days. It's great. She has a great comedic timing as an actor. Even when she's in movies that aren't comedy, she's still really funny. So she's a great pick for a Spaceballs 2. Um, Greg, well, one, I want to give you a chance to say your piece about the Rick Moranis Bill Pullman casting, but then I want you to bring up the teaser they posted. But say this first before we bring that up because I want to read along to it.
Okay. Yeah. I think getting Rick Moranis back is like a huge deal. They tried to get him for Ghostbusters. Ernie Hudson called Rick Moranis and asked him if he wanted to be a part of it, and he politely passed. You know, he said no, which is fine. Like, I want to know
Rick Moranis looked at
what's
that script and was like,
either that. I don't know if you even read the script. He just said no thanks, right? I think he did an interview about it where he said that, like, you know, it just seemed kind of like weird to come back from a character that was only in like, you know, 2 movies that, you know, he had his own reasons, right? His own artistic reasons. He
sure.
stepped out of the spotlight for a while. I want to know what deal he made with Mel Brooks where he called, because you know Mel Brooks called him and was like, Rick, you know that favor you owe me? you need to be in the
Yeah.
movie. It had to have been something like that because Mel Brooks is still around, which is amazing. He's got to be like almost, isn't he
Yeah.
90? He's
I
old.
believe he's 90. He's like 99
Yeah,
or 98.
he's on my
Yeah.
bucket list to interview. I don't think I'll get a chance, but yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I do worry about these legacy sequels a little bit. I mean, like a lot of them are like extremely
Sure.
hit or miss for what they do. They either miss their target toward demographic completely, like the Willow TV show, or they do all right, like Afterlife, like Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know. It's we're in a weird place where, like, I think, like you said before, people are now experimenting with IP that was made in the 80s and 90s, and they're like, okay, legacy sequel
Yeah.
time, and you're like, oh, does the humor translate? Does the story work? All the actors are old now. How do we make that work? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
interested, but like, there's certain things like we won't talk about on the show too much, but Happy Gilmore 2 looks absolutely dog asinine terrible. Like, it just looks awful. I saw the extended trailer and I'm like, nope, completely nope, not gonna watch it. It looks awful.
Right.
So
Well,
just it's that balance, right? The balance of old and new, and sometimes you can't do it. If it's a checklist, oh, we have to have all these jokes in, and oh, we have to have all these characters in, then I don't. It's do a new thing and see if it works, because that's the nostalgia is hard, but
Yeah.
doing something new. But yeah, I mean, great
Well, I mean-
casting. Rick is back, which is insane. That's his first film debut, like you said, till 2000 since 2006. That's a real big deal. So
Longtime viewers of Pop Goes the Culture would know that this show actually holds a special place in the history of this show, Greg, as it was the first ever movie night that we did. We watched Spaceballs. It was my first time watching it right here. Okay, can you scroll to the beginning of this and let me know when you
my
hit play? Because I'm going to read it out
favorite is
loud.
Donovan says every
Wait.
single time where we like introduce you to something for the first time. It's all right. That's what you say every time. Yeah, we did it with In and Out. I think you did it
Spaceballs
with
was good.
Spaceballs. You did it with
Spaceballs was good. In and Out was all right.
Okay.
In and Out was all right. So I like
All right.
Spaceballs.
Just remember that. It's no
Look, man, I don't- I don't,
JP.
I try to avoid hyperbole, I
Right,
try not to be the
right.
guy who's like, this is
No,
the worst thing I've ever
it's a
seen.
perfectly
This is the
acceptable
best thing
answer.
ever.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I like to give myself some gray area. Okay, I want to read along to this teaser for Spaceballs 2, so let me know when you hit play.
Okay, we'll go 3, 2, 1, go, and we'll hit play on go. Okay, ready? 3, 2,
Okay.
1, go.
All right, I'm going to read along. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy. But since then, there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off of the TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel, not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars, 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s, DCU attempt number 1, DCU attempt number 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King prequel, 8 Harry Potter movies, a TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies, a whole streaming service of Star Trek, 7 Alien movies, 2 of which were also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies that are also not Alien movies, 1 Prometheus, which is also kind of an Alien movie, 4 Beatles movies, question marks, and Oppenheimer. But in 38 years, there has only ever been one Spaceballs. Until now. And then you get a little, like, 15-second hit of Mel Brooks talking. He's just saying pretty much after 40 years. Spaceballs, the sweatshirt, I'd wear that shirt.
Yeah, because that was the internal joke, was that when they parodied it, Lucas said they could, but they had to stay away from merchandising, so that was a big hit on George Lucas.
Asked, what do the fans want?
That's good. He says at the end, he's
we're
like,
making this
after all these years, he's like, we asked fans what they wanted from us next, and instead of doing that, we're making this movie. Oh, that's good. I'm looking forward to this. I have a weird, like, I'm in a weird place with this, right? Where I like Spaceballs. Obviously, I saw the movie like 30 years after it came out, so I don't have that, like, it's not sacred to me. I'm not like, oh, this is like, you gotta protect this key media I grew up with. But also, Spaceballs is like, it's beloved, but it's not. I mean, it's a bit niche. It's not. It's like mainstream for parody, but it wasn't like, it's not, Star Wars or Harry Potter.
In the plethora of like Mel Brooks' worth, it's like easily his top 3, right? One of his top 3 movies.
Sure.
Like, you've watched it on accident at some point or with a friend at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this, Young Frankenstein. I think like one other one are like his big 3. He's done dozens of movies, and like, so yeah, it's one of his big 3 though, for sure.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm I don't mind them going back to Spaceballs. I feel like the stakes are not high, because it's not like Spaceballs is some prestige coveted untouchable masterpiece of cinema. It was a fun parody movie. It was the whole movie was made as a joke to make fun of a
it's a
bigger,
joke movie,
more popular movie.
What's
So
interesting is
there
that
you
the
go.
comedy comes in waves, like in trends, just like anything else, and like how long the trends stay. Like for the longest time, it was. You remember 40-Year-Old Virgin? Remember, like it was that movie kind of started the comedy trend of like, oh, we're gonna sit here and do like 20 minutes of different takes, and then and riff, and then in the cutting room we'll just
Find
cut the
funny.
best one. Like that became like a trend in a lot of movies. More so some that like it didn't really work, but they did it anyway. But like with the Naked Gun movie coming out with Leslie Nielsen, I feel like slapstick may be coming back in, because that movie's very like those 80s parody movies were very different than comedy is today, right? Like they were like a lot of them didn't make sense. Like it was just like like you said, they were just jokes. Like this is just jokes. This isn't like a real world we're trying to take seriously. We're just joking around, and maybe that is gonna come back now in full swing. Like the scary movie type of humor, right? That outlived its
Scary
welcome
Movie's coming out next year.
can come back. Yeah, will come back in a
Scary
wave
Movie coming
again.
next
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
Also, I believe you meant Liam Neeson. And
Sorry, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, that's
was
is
in
the
old
one.
ones,
Liam.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like you can see my mind how it's broken. See right
Yeah.
there, you can see how I'm all
It's
messed
funny that
up.
their names are that similar.
Yeah,
No, I get
just
you.
like what's happening? Where am I?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. I think that as much as everyone loved to hate and shit on Disney era Star Wars, you'd think that everybody would be jumping out of their bed to like get excited for this movie, right? Because that's what it's going to be, is a parody of Star Wars, primarily taking aim at the sequel trilogy. They mentioned the prequels in there. They're going to get at those two. You would think that's going to be the whole damn thing. So I was surprised that so many people were hesitant about it. So I'm like, I thought you people loved making fun of Star Wars now. So I don't know. We'll see.
Wait,
I'm looking forward to it though.
yeah. I mean, like some of the like some of that humor is very like 80s like slapsticky and like fourth wall breaking.
It is.
Before the Deadpool movie did that stuff. It was like
Sure.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. Have you ever seen that one, Donovan?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
So like, and then he takes a shot and he loses, and he's like, "Wait, what? I'm not supposed to lose." And then like he's like, "Where's the script?" And some PA grabs him the script. And he's like looking through it. He's like, "Yeah, wait a minute, I get another shot." Like everyone's looking at the script. Like I don't know, that kind of humor is has been gone for a while. I think Scary Movie really, the original one and the second one, like once you got into the third and the fourth and the what's the other one, the superhero movie. And like that kind of stuff, like that, I think that's what really it outwore its welcome, and they just moved on to different types of humor, right? And that happens all the time. People get tired of something and it switches.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you're totally right. I don't disagree with you at all. But yeah, I don't know. I think this could be fun. 2027's a while away, so they got a lot of work to do on this. It is not necessarily around the corner. But could be good once
Movies take a long
once
time to
it's
make. They take a long. I mean, like I've interviewed plenty of producers and stuff that just say like it's not easy to make. Like they all say the same thing. That's a good headline too. It's not easy to make a movie. You don't just walk in and just like get
They're
something
not.
stamped and make it.
They
Yeah, there's a
often say, in
whole
fact, that
process. Yeah, before even anything happens. Like it's actors
they often say
availability,
it's a
timing.
miracle.
Yeah, budget. It all.
But
Yeah, it's insane.
it's a miracle that any movie gets made, especially a
Right,
feature film.
right.
Even the bad ones, yeah. Which I think people fail to realize. But yeah, we'll be looking out for more Space Balls 2 details. We got a couple more interesting stories left, Greg, but before you get into those, let's talk about the Shack News social media verse, because we're all over the place. You can find us on x.com at Shack News, or on Instagram at Shack News Media, Facebook. Just search up Shack News and you'll freaking find us, guys. And of course, we're all over the YouTubes, Greg. We have, I believe, 3 YouTube channels. Could you tell people about them and what's going on over there these days?
Oh yeah, so we have a lot of Summer Game Fest stuff in the can, waiting to go up. Oh, don't want to go that screen. I'm out of it and going into YouTube mode. So like we have a I don't know, I don't think I can announce it, but we do have Celebrate E4 every year. This summer of doing our jobs as a parody of E3, because E3 is dead. Long live E3. And so like soon, sometime in June, we're gonna have like a big thing. So stay tuned for that. I don't know exactly what it is yet. We're not sure what the timing of it yet, but we're gonna have a big thing that's gonna have a lot of cool interviews with developers and trailers, and maybe even a Silk Song trailer. No, I'm just kidding. We don't get Silk Song trailer. In fact, the thing when I pitched to Ozzy for the trailers with the world premiere Silk Song trailer, then he calls me and be like, "We're not getting Silk Song. What do you mean we're not getting Silk Song? But they didn't show it anywhere. It exists, right? No, it's like Skull and Bones. Wait, they released that game. No, they didn't. I don't believe you. Donovan reviewed it. I don't believe him." thought for a
At
second.
least Silk Song will probably be good at the very least.
But no, so like we have lots of cool stuff happening for the month of June, so like stay tuned with that. Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, you do some great work over there. And I mentioned all of our travels. A lot of that coverage is right over there on the Shack News YouTube channels.
Oh man, the assignments
Um,
have been coming in nonstop. It's been great, but it's also been terrible because they're
busy times here at Shack News Intergalactic headquarters. Busy times. But Greg, let's move to our next news story. We're on the heels of the release of Superman. The iconic heroes return to the big screen thanks to James Gunn. And ahead of that debut on July 11th, I believe, James Gunn was doing some interviews. He was talking about the future of the DCEU because obviously he's not only directing Superman, he's also the head of DC Studios now. He's their Kevin Feige, essentially, kind of creating the path forward for that universe. And in this interview, Greg was speaking with Entertainment Weekly. James Gunn revealed that a Wonder Woman movie is in development at DC. This was previously unannounced. Um, I'll get his exact quote here. He said, "It's slow moving, but it's moving." And then he went on to say that the Wonder Woman movie is, and this is a quote, being written right now. So that's the first we've heard of DC Studios doing their own Wonder Woman movie. Obviously, this is a full-on reboot. So the whole Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot era is gone. This is obviously, you can presume it'll be a new actress playing Wonder Woman. We have no idea who. We probably won't know for a while longer, but it is happening. I know people were kind of upset at first because when they announced the slate of DC projects under James Gunn, it was like a lot of stuff, but no Wonder Woman. People are like, you're doing um, Peacemaker season 2. You've got your Superman movie. You got Creature Command. You got all these like weird zany projects, but like not Wonder Woman. The most popular woman superhero of all time. So there's a bit of a confirmation that it's being written. Greg, what would you want from a new Wonder Woman story?
I just want better casting. I want good casting. That's all. I just everything is
Someone who
Gal
could
Gadot,
act.
but like Wonder Woman's supposed to be an Amazon. Like that's the whole point. Like they keep getting these like supermodels. You know what I mean? Like give someone who's buff. You know what I mean? But like there that conversation I'm sure is, oh well,
Or
buff
that can
girls
act.
won't sell tickets or fucking whatever bullshit Hollywood fucking algorithms show fucking statistics or whatever men won't go see it if she's not attractive, whatever the fuck they make up. Like I want to see like a real Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's supposed to be jacked. You know what I mean? Like I want to see an
Yeah.
Amazon
Well,
warrior.
I
I don't want
think
to, you know what I mean? Like I don't just want to see a tall actress. I want to see like an Amazon warrior, like
I think we're leaving out the most important detail here. I don't think the issue with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was that she wasn't strong. I think the issue was that she couldn't act. She wasn't talented.
maybe it's a combination of both.
That
I mean I saw the
that's
Amazons. I forget
the most important here.
which movie they showed it, but it wasn't Zack Snyder's one. It was another one. Like that is what Amazons look like to me. I forget which movie it was. There's been so many fucking DC movies I can't even keep track anymore. But there was one
Mhm.
particularly, I'm like, oh cool, like all the war shots, like it was like those are Amazons, right? They're like bodybuilders, they're trained, they're not slender and thin, they're like jacked. I want to see a Wonder Woman like that, break that mold, right? Like get someone who's actually look like strong,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, people can also get strong. They do that all the time,
I mean, that's what I'd like to
especially in
see. Yeah,
the
I would like
superhero.
to see that. That's honestly like, but I don't think the world's ready for that. I don't think the world can be barely ready for minorities to be in films. I don't think they're ready for a jacked Wonder Woman. That's
The
not
world's
even.
ready. The world's ready. The only
I
people
want
who
them
aren't
to be
ready are
ready.
sexist people. But that's not the majority of the world. That's just sexist people. They're never going to be ready. We can't live on their timeline. Um, I'm excited for a new Wonder Woman movie. I think Wonder Woman's a cool character. I thought that. I mean, I even liked the 2017 first Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman movie, despite Gal Gadot not being a great actress. I thought that movie was cool.
The theme was
And
great. I
obviously
like the
second
themes.
one
The
was pretty
music in that is
terrible.
really kick ass. I liked the music.
Great score.
Yeah, her music
Wonder
is
Woman
really good in
theme
those
from
movies. Yeah.
that's some of the best music in the DCEU back in that iteration of it. But exciting stuff. I remain very optimistic in the James Gunn version of this universe. I know people have thrown their doubt and skepticism at the dude, but if you ask me, he's made what, 5 comic book movies now? Or no. Yeah. He's done 5, and I think he hasn't missed yet. I loved all the Guardians. I love Suicide Squad, and I haven't seen Superman, so I can't say whether he missed or not on that one. But I think the dude obviously knows what the hell he's doing. And I think one thing very underrated about James Gunn is not only is he a good filmmaker, but he's very good at finding talent to do other things. Right? Like he's not directing Wonder Woman or like the Supergirl movie, but he's so good at like finding the right people for the job, which I think is one of his strong suits. He's very good at curating and assembling talent. So I'm
This was the picture I
this
was
will be
referring to
good.
earlier. It's like, so on the left is the Wonder Woman movie directed by the female director, and on the
Patty
right is Zack
Jenkins. Patty,
Snyder.
let's respect Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
Let's give
Patty
her
Jenkins is on the
give her a
left, and
name.
then Zack Snyder. So you men. That's all I got. That's what my wife would say. Look at this picture.
Yeah.
Like, of course, men. Like, you know what I mean? Like the left, they look like I mean,
Right.
they're jacked in the right, but they look like warriors, like going into battle on the left. The right
Yeah.
looks like a supermodel commercial. You know what I mean? So
I know.
the
That's
costume
our Zack
design.
Snyder flavor, baby.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway, yeah. I
that's
mean, I want the actresses on the right to be in the costumes on the left, right? Because that looks more like an actual, like they actually would fight in the things on the left, right?
yeah.
But yeah. So anyway,
Well, there you
just
go.
so I'm not
Get
crazy. So my 2% correctness still reigns
get
supreme. I do remember something
get
about this.
get Greg in the department for the costuming for
Put it
DC's
in,
Wonder
yeah.
Woman
So
movie.
yeah, I mean, anyway, yeah. I mean, just the stuff takes time. Like they're gonna talk. He announced a Wonder Woman movie, but it may be 5 years till we see it, right? Because things
Probably.
go slow. And you know what? I think movies are better for it. They're just better when you go slow and you don't have a 10. Here's our next 35 years of movies, and there's 120 movies or whatever. The shit that Disney does with their
Sure.
timelines. Just take your time, take each one, and then the thing is they don't want to do that because when they take one, if it does really well, now the process starts over. Contracts have to be renegotiated, and it takes 3, 4, 5 years to get the next one out, rather than have a director or production deal sign a 5-picture deal that can be done in 7 years. So like it's a risk reward thing. Like, but I'd say, trickle it in, go slow, release one, then assess, do another one. Don't sign up for 10 immediately. I think that's a trend that's been happening ever since MCU. Like people just sign these whole like plethora of movies. You wouldn't even know if they're going to be any good or not. And you don't know. Right. So just take your time,
Yeah.
take your time. I'm patient. I'll wait. It's fine. I don't need a Wonder Woman movie every year. I don't need a Superman movie every year. Let's just take it easy. Right.
Yeah, and I for one, I'm looking forward to Superman. I just bought my tickets yesterday. I'm going to be seeing it Thursday night, July 10th. I can't freaking wait. I'm so excited.
Did you see
Yeah,
the
good
baby in the
times, good
trailer?
times
There's like
ahead.
a baby that I was like, what the
You know, I didn't even watch the newest trailer because I was like, I'm ready. I don't want to know anymore. But I was like, just like the baby, like alien thing or whatever.
It's Superman. It's saving a baby. I don't know. It's weird, but it's
Yeah,
fine. James Gunn can be weird, which is fine.
he's always weird, I would argue. Um, so yeah,
Although
I'm looking
the
forward to it.
new trailer they showed yesterday or 2 days ago, when did they release it? 2 days ago? 4 days ago? There's a new trailer.
Excuse me.
The new trailer. Hold on, wait, this will tell me. Let me just. Yesterday, they released it yesterday, and they have that. It does that cardinal like James Gunn arguably did it. I think did it first before the Josh Whedon effect rolled through Hollywood. But it's that serious line followed by a funny line, and I'm like, oh no, please, like let's not let's not do the
Right.
you know what I mean, like to diffuse the tense
Yeah.
situation. And the trailer, he goes like he's like, quit messing around. He goes, I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff. And I'm like, oh no. That was like the one cringe line I didn't like in the trailer. I was like, please no.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, James Gunn's always been, he's always been a very lighthearted, funny, goofy,
Yeah, to
silly.
be fair, yeah, he was doing that stuff before the Josh Whedon effect rippled through
Yeah.
Hollywood. But now that we've
And
seen so much of it, I feel like I've just grown completely numb to it. So
but also the fact with this being Superman, I think there's such a strong desire from James Gunn and then fans for a more lighthearted Superman movie. I think a lot of people really want this movie to be vibrant and colorful and funny and like lighthearted. Because I mean, obviously, coming off the doom and gloom of like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, like people want a silly Superman that's like corny and tells jokes and doesn't take himself seriously. So there's a chance we might overcorrect a little bit and he's a little goofball. But I think people in general are gonna be much more receptive of that, rather than the brooding, super serious, everything was taken from me Superman that we saw before this one. So
it's funny
I'm
in
looking
the
forward to
interview
it.
too. The actor that plays Superman is pretty ripped.
David Corn Sweat.
Yeah, David Cortez is pretty like he's like jacked, and
He's
it's hard.
ripped.
I
He's a
think it's
good
hard to
looking
see in
dude.
that suit, but he's jacked.
He's been on that Superman freaking regiment, dude. He got cast, I think, 2 years ago. He's been working. Yeah, he's good. I like him. I like David Corn Sweat a lot. He's great in Twisters. I liked him in Pearl. A little throwback for you folks, 2022. He's good in Pearl. Yeah, I think they absolutely knocked the casting out of the park for this movie. So
Yeah, and like it's also like James Gunn has that attention to detail where it's like like people love cameos in films, they love throwbacks, but they've gotten kind of egregious and like, not like sledgehammery to the face, not scalpel. Like in this new trailer, there's a bunch of small things that I, as a DC fan, recognize. Like the power suits they wear are like almost very close variation of like Lex Luthor's power suit in the comics and cartoon. Like very, very close. And it's like not a big deal, but it's like holy crap! Like that's that kind of detail that we appreciate. That's not like so in your face that average fans still gonna think they're cool, and it's something even better for people who know what it is, right? Um, yeah, you haven't seen this new trailer yet. They show a little bit of new stuff, not much. It's Lex Luthor voiceover talking about how he's going to destroy him. So I'm curious to see how they,
Right.
yeah, start how that
Right.
relationship forms out of jealousy and power. And then of course there's a great we've seen in the new trailer him fighting Ultraman, which I'm gonna would bet money, yeah, bet many it's your future Bizarro. It's clone. He cloned him. It's future Bizarro. So
Could be.
that's got to be it. I mean, it's the small stuff that like as long as you're explaining it, like the fans will appreciate it, and people who don't know what it is will still enjoy it. Mr. Terrific is fantastic. I'm so happy to see him in a film, and he looks great. He looks fucking fantastic. His mask is great. His jacket is great. Everything looks really good. I cannot wait to see it on HBO Max. I can't go to the theater.
I can't wait to see it in theater in Dolby. My ears get ripped off.
Oh, I can't, man. I mean, maybe if we make the trek down to Santa Rosa and like see it down there, but I just
There you go. Make a day out of it. Go treat yourself. Have a nice little day out somewhere, man.
I tell this all the
Go see a
time too. Though
freaking
the problem
movie.
is that like the people around my area, even in Santa Rosa, are very rude in the theater. Like they vape, they talk, they have their phones out, and like you know what I mean. And that really ruins my fucking experience. I don't need a
I feel
7.
you. Hey, Martin Scorsese recently said that he doesn't go to public theaters anymore because people have ruined the experience. They have too many phones, so he only watches movies at home in his private theater.
Yeah, so like that like I said, that's not obviously that's not a problem in your area, but it's a big problem in mine. So that's the unfortunate thing, especially when tickets are like $18 a piece to go see it. That's
Yeah.
for 2 hours. It's expensive. But and then here's Guy Gardner and him and Superman facing off. So if you there was a comic line Justice League, I forget the subheader, but it was like the inception of the Justice League. It was about Darkseid's invasion and the Justice League coming together, meeting everyone for the first time. And Green Lantern and Superman fight because they don't know who the fuck he is because he's brand new to the area. Like the Superman, they don't know who he is, if he's a villain or a hero. Obviously, the costume should have gave it away, but so they fight and he completely kicks Green Lantern's ass. so I'm hoping they have that in here where he's just like trying to like do everything he can to throw everything at him and nothing's working, which is fun. So a lot of fun characters here too. Like obviously we have a lot the makings of the Justice League. I'm hoping he has self-control and doesn't put Batman in it. This is a Superman movie. As much as it would cool to see his Batman, that's a 10-year project, right? So let's take it off. And there's Mercy. I think the girl in the white here is Mercy, his secretary / bodyguard driver, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And then I don't know who the girl in the nano suit is. I don't know who she is, but maybe someone knows in the chat.
Maybe a Kryptonian. I don't know. Beats me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. It has, and most importantly, the cardinal sin of the MCU is that it takes place in modern day. But I feel like because all these movies have to be intertwined and make sense in the day, right? You can't have an aesthetic look to it, right? It has to look like regular world. And this one does definitely have like a style to it, like a look, like a sort of 1960s,
you can do both.
50s. Yeah, but it's hard to do that. It's really difficult to achieve that. And I think it does it in spades with the architecture and the costume design, and like the production designer did a really good job.
You can do both. The MCU doesn't just look like that because it's set in modern day. The MCU looks like that because they want it to look like real life. Is the issue, the thing there? Because obviously Superman's set in modern day, but they wanted to have a hyper realistic, surrealized look to it, where it doesn't even look like our real world, but it just looks like a reflection of it. Which is a great artistic choice, but it's very decided and intentional by Marvel Studios to make the Marvel movies just look like real world, because they want it to just look like superheroes are flying around the real New York City, the one that you've been to, like it or not. But I love the way the Superman looks. I think it looks so vibrant. I think the colors pop in all those scenes. I'm ready. I can't be more excited. I'm locked in. I'm loaded. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna freaking heat ray vision on the screen when I sit down to watch it. Gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like just like Superman's technology just looks very 60s, which is cool. Like that whole control panel looks very 60s,
Mhm.
70s. That looks great. Yeah.
It's very 60s. Yes, but with that, okay, we're gonna move on to our next news topic. We're jumping from superhero franchise to horror franchise because the Saw series, which has been around since 2004 and has seen 10 movies in that time, has been sold to the highest bidder, which is Blumhouse, which is a bit anticlimactic because Blumhouse is like the biggest name in horror right now. So there's a little bit of background and lore here, Greg, for me to get into before we actually talk about the news story.
Right.
Saw franchise has been around since 2004. It was created by James Wan and Lee Winnell. Um, it The series has had 10 movies in 21 years, averaging one every other year. Obviously, if you were around in the 2010s, there was like a 5-year streak where there was a Saw movie in theaters on Halloween every October without fail annually. Um, and eventually it was diminishing returns and they stopped making the movies because people stopped paying money to go see them. And then they did a couple of like spin-off kind of like side story movies that were still a part of the canon but a little like offbeat with like Jigsaw and then Spiral, which I hated Spiral. But in 2023, they came back to the main timeline with those main characters with Tobin frickin' Bell, and they made Saw X, also known as Saw 10, and it was actually pretty good. And it was the like highest earning Saw movie I think in the entire series. I think it's the like one of like two Saw movies with like actual positive like Rotten Tomatoes rating. People liked it and it made money. And it's like wow, it was the thing where they took time off the series, they let it cool for a little bit. Same thing we just saw in Final Destination, where they took some years off, and then it came back once people actually cared about it again or were interested in it again, and it did well. So obviously, with Saw 10 doing so well in 2023, Lionsgate was like, "Guess what, motherfuckers? Saw 11 is in early development now, and we're working on the next one." And people were like, "Cool, bet." And then last year it came out that hey, Saw 11 is having some trouble. In fact, the studio Lionsgate and who's the distributor, and then Twisted Pictures, who actually produces the movies, they can't agree on what Saw 11 should be about. They can't figure this movie out, which obviously is bewildering that you can't figure out the 11th movie in a horror franchise. That alone is a bit mind-boggling. But they couldn't figure out the story for it, so the movie was pretty much dead. And all the Saw fans were like, "Well, that sucks." It felt like the franchise was just about to have this little fun comeback, little renaissance. We were gonna have a hot Jigsaw summer, and now it's all quiet and gone down the drain. In comes Blumhouse, the studio that brought you Megan. I think Blumhouse does the Conjuring movies. Really, most big horror movies
Five
of the
Nights.
last
They've
10
been a lot. Yeah,
years.
they've been busy.
Five
They've been
Nights,
very
yeah.
busy.
They're like the blockbuster horror studio at this point. A24 does like indie neon, but if you're looking at blockbuster big budget horror, it's usually Blumhouse or like WB. Um, I mean, Blumhouse has acquired the rights of Saw from Twisted Pictures and will presumably be releasing a movie with their own take on the franchise. So the first part about this is whatever disagreement Twisted Pictures and Lionsgate had was so great that they just said fuck it and sold the whole goddamn franchise, which is crazy to me. That they were just like, just get it fine, we're done, we're moving on from this. After 10 movies, hundreds of millions of dollars, wiping our hands clean. We just made the most successful movie in the series. We're ridding ourselves of it. And now it's in the hands of Blumhouse, which Greg, this even comes with its own narrative because Blumhouse has a partnership with a smaller horror production company called Atomic Monster. Who owns and operates Atomic Monster, you might ask? James Wan, the man who created The Conjuring, but more importantly, the man who created Saw. The man who created Saw with Lee Winnell all the way back in 2004 when they were film school graduates and they just wanted to make this weird, creepy horror movie that they made for a budget of a small loan of $1 million. Dollars. And they filmed the entire thing in one room because that's all they could do. And it was, two cameras, and it's this low budget horror movie with a great plot twist that they've tried to imitate at least 8 times since then. And now you could say Saw's home because James Wan is involved, but it's kind of going to be a new era for the franchise. Now, James Wan, many years ago, was asked about ever coming back to the Saw series. And I believe, I could be wrong, I believe he implied that he had no interest in doing Saw again unless it was a new take on the franchise and was like a full on reboot, which, depending on how you feel about that series, that might delight you to hear. A lot of Saw fans are very sad about that because if you don't know, Saw is like a soap opera, essentially at this point. 10 movies in, Saw is like a full-on cop procedural soap opera where you've got characters that will show up in 8 that you haven't seen since 3, or a guy will die in 5, and then in 7 you find out he faked his death, and in 11, or in 10 they're revealing plot things related to characters from 4. Like it's this interconnected web that gets sillier and sillier, but it like has maintained to keep all these characters in play. Kind of how I talk about Scream, where I'm like, Scream has kept its continuity since 1996, or yeah, 1996. Saw is like that, but like ratcheted up, where they have double the amount of movies and far more absurd writing, but they've still like done their best to like keep everything. Like I believe Jigsaw, Toby Mell's character John Kramer dies in Saw 3, and that motherfucker's in Saw 10. Like that's the level of like weird timeline jumping,
Oh
moving
yeah, prequels,
around
sequels,
stuff.
in between. Yeah, they do a lot of that.
The Saw franchise does a whole lot of that, but the fans of that franchise love it for that. It's they love the silliness of it all and the continuity. So people have been torn on the idea that the franchise might be starting over or getting a reboot. But I think it's just interesting on the surface level that a massive franchise or horror franchises moves to new ownership.
Yeah, we
Hello,
saw
Blumhouse.
one in the theater, which was funny because we're like, oh my god, it's Carrie Ells, and Carrie Ells had not done a movie in a long time. In a long time. And I remember at the end of the climax, we're watching the theater and he's like doing the big climax of like, my family needs me. And we lead him, we're like, wow, he really should have he's done stage for too long. Way too long.
He's
If
Carrie
you want to see
Ellis is
Carrie Ells
doing
at his absolute height of like Broadway, like not quite doing that
he's
switch to film yet, watch this movie because it's great for that reason.
he's doing Broadway in the first
Yeah,
Saw, and it's so
he
funny.
is.
And
He
he's
is.
also barely hiding his British accent throughout that movie. It's really funny. Um, but it's a part of the charm of Saw. It's a part of the charm. It's
It
always
is.
this
No,
like
it is. It
silly,
is.
larger than life, kind of presentation to it, and it's it is still one of the best plot twists at the end of a horror movie. It's still a film that kicked off not only a 10 movie franchise, but a genre that people love, well, not lovingly, but in a lot of cases very hatefully referred to as torture porn, where Saw has a whole lot of that. It's always, the crazy traps and ways they
Yeah, the
find to kill
games, the
people.
traps, yeah, became about. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what horror
But
evolves into eventually. It just becomes about the deaths,
but
right?
not Saw. That's the thing though. Saw has the deaths, but it's really, and this is what I think is the charm of the Saw franchise, is that it really is about the silly continuity of all these fucking characters of Amanda Young and John Kramer and all the accomplices and the reveals and the betrayals and the backstabs. Like the games and stuff is like the funny backdrop, and it's like what breaks it all up. But those movies, if you go to a Saw screening with fans, the shit they're cheering at is when the characters are like being sassy to each other, or cops are like busting into rooms and yelling, or whatnot. That's the stuff that people get up and go crazy for, which I think why that franchise has managed to kind of stand so long. And that's why I hated Spiral, because why the hell is Chris Rock in a Saw movie, and why is he the main goddamn character of it? Also, why is the movie orange?
Hey, you've
But
seen the studio. You know how this works. You've watched the.
yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I think on one hand, if you tell me, hey, is going to do a new Saw and it's going to be original, it's not going to be connected to the old movies. They're starting over. This movie's just called Saw, and we're just doing something completely fresh. I'd be like, okay, I'll see it, but I'm like, I'd be disappointed because it does feel like the generic thing to do because every horror movie has done that at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. It
It's a
seems like this
Saw
is the
for
only way
another
we're getting a new
generation.
Saw
Didn't
movie.
James Wan do a bunch of the Fast and Furious movies too? Didn't he do like 2 or 3 Fast and Furious movies? He did some.
He did a couple,
Like,
I think.
I mean, hey, dude, that's a fat paycheck, so I wouldn't say no to it either.
He did 7. It was just 7. He only did 7.
Okay, yeah, I
With
thought that was
7,
a weird. When I remember seeing the trailer for that, and I'm like, They're like James Wan. I'm like, why the fuck is a horror director
I
doing
like
Tokyo
7.
Drift?
7 was the one after Paul Walker died, and that was the one with like "See You Again" and the emotional. 7 was good. I like Fury 7,
I've
but yeah,
seen the
James Wan's
memes.
done a bunch. He did Aquaman. He did The Conjuring. He's been all over the place, but he is I mean, as big as he gets as far as like horror goes. Um, and then Lee Winnell also great. He did fucking The Invisible Man. He
Yeah,
also did
his
The Wolfman
his
this year, which we don't talk about, but
his directing path is very interesting. Like, I just you go from horror to Tokyo to Furious 7 to Aquaman. Like, it's a very interesting career path.
yeah, I mean the dude's a director, man. He's not pigeonholed to one genre. He has done so much, so many movies. And yeah, his first feature film was Saw in 2004. So I would love to see him back in that director's chair for a new Saw. Don't think that'll happen. He'll probably produce, if I had to guess, but he's a force of the genre
He does like
nonetheless.
consulting, right? I think he just consults on some of the projects, right? I've seen
Producer. I
his
mean, he owns a
name.
production company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be involved, I'm sure, in some capacity. But good luck, Saw fans. I hope that this works out well for you all. Uh, Greg, our final story is one that I had forgot to freaking put in our run of show until you reminded me. Um, this just happened or was announced yesterday. We got a big old AI lawsuit coming at the hands of Disney and Universal, which Disney is about as big as it gets in the entertainment world. Yeah, Disney, Nintendo, the biggest. So when it comes to entertainment, that's as big as you get. Disney and Universal are filing lawsuits against Mid Journey AI. Um, for obvious reasons, right? This is one of those headlines where you read it and you're like, yeah, obviously they are. I don't have to explain to you why Disney would want to sue a generative AI company. Is because people are making pictures of the characters from Toy Story having sex and doing weird shit and making Wolverine naked and eating hot dogs and fighting against Darth Vader on the Death Star and whatnot. And people are generating all sorts of random fucking weird shit with IP that's owned by one of the most litigious and um stiff companies in the industry. Obviously they're going to sue them. Now this is one of those like the enemy of my enemy is my friend situations where like I don't think everyone's not ready to get up and cheer at Disney filing a lawsuit against somebody. They got the best lawyers in the world. They're a monolith in the entertainment industry. They've consumed everything. But you know what people hate even more than Disney is AI companies and generative AI. So it's like, hey, you found a way to be the lesser evil for once somehow, Disney.
The Disney
So
is in the small category, the good guy corner this time, right? That's the whole point.
yeah, so essentially, and this is great. In the lawsuit, they described Midjourney as a bottomless pit of plagiarism, which is pretty fucking scathing and also true. Um, so yeah, this is I believe, a 143-page lawsuit, as TJ wrote for us yesterday, um, in which they show examples of uh, AI generated images based on Disney IP. The one teacher uses in the article of the Thanos from Infinity War one is creepy because if you just showed me the images on the right and said, "Remember this from Infinity War?" I thought that was the images from Infinity War. That looks like the shots from the movie. Obviously, next to each other, you can tell which one's real and which one isn't. But if I just saw the one on the right on my own, Jesus, that is like a very close approximation of those original shots from that movie. So yeah, uh, I'd say Midjourney is probably in trouble because again, Disney has the most the strongest lawyers in the world. They have endless millions of dollars to throw at a lawsuit until it ends how they want it to end. Now, Asa brought up a good point that like the reality is that this probably just ends in a settlement quietly that we won't know the dollar amount, or they'll come to some like licensing deal or whatever. But either way, I think it's huge that somebody with a big library of IP is like publicly taking on an AI company, at the very least sending a message that like you can't do this with free reign, that there is some sort of consequence or reckoning that needs to happen when you do this. But we've been seeing this stuff running rampant for years now. People have been waiting on this, people, Nintendo, Disney, Apple, people have been waiting for these companies to jump in and start like swinging at these AI companies. So
I mean,
there you go.
it's in my opinion, it's too late. Like, I mean, you're trying to put toothpaste back in a toothpaste tube. Like, it's too late. Like, okay, so they win the lawsuit, hooray! And then like 20 other AI companies do the same fucking thing. Pop.
It's
It's
not too late if they cause them to shut down.
Yeah,
They
but
can
like
shut
the
that whole
thing is that
company
like
down.
Midjourney is just one of thousands of image generators that can pull from anywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's too late. Like this thing needed to be monitored and regulated way before this point, but it wasn't because our fucking, especially I'm talking specifically United States, like our Senate and our congressmen barely understand how Facebook works. They're not going to
Oh,
understand what
these
an
people don't
AI
understand. Yeah.
does, how AI works. They only know how to short sell and do stocks, and that's about all they need to. That's all I need to know. It's too late. Like the cat's out of the bag. If
I don't think
Midjourney
it's too
shuts down
late.
and gets sued, it doesn't matter because there's going to be 20 other AI algorithms that are going to be in different parts of the world that Disney can't touch because the servers. You know, you weren't. I was alive during the. I was alive. I was conscious about the piracy with Napster and LimeWire and Pirate Bay and all that stuff that was happening in the late 90s. And one of the big things at that time was where the servers were. So it was really hard to get things shut down because the servers weren't in the jurisdiction of the United States or whatever. They would move the servers around, and that was just one legality of people uploading music and movies that people could download. Uh, AI is just a whole other bag. Like it's a whole other complicated bag of, it takes like it's user generated content technically, right? It's how do you stop a user from doing this, and how do you because here's the problem, Donovan. I don't think it's the fact that it's that it's stealing is the main point. That's the point they're relying on because it is IP infringement. But at the same time, though, like it's looking so real, people can't tell the difference anymore, and that's the dangerous part.
Yeah.
You release a picture of
Yeah.
Wolverine eating a hot dog. Is that real? Did Disney release that? Is it an
Yeah.
actual image? Like
But
that's
I've seen so many AI movie posters, where
yeah.
people just make up. It'll be like, oh, look at the poster for Avengers versus X-Men, and then it goes viral on Facebook because nobody on there knows what the fuck is real or not. And then people they go to work and they tell their coworker, oh my god, I saw this thing. They're making this movie, and they all think it's real. I would push back against the idea that it's too late because I think that a legal precedent could change everything. Yes, if Midjourney shuts down, there are other AI companies, but suddenly everything they do changes. The context of it, you have to move entirely differently now. When if Midjourney goes down and they sue the founders for hundreds of millions of dollars and they spend the rest of their lives paying back Disney scraps, that's going to change the way everyone else who runs an AI company looks at it. Because they look at like Nintendo, right, where Yuzu ran rampant for like half the Switch's lifespan, and they finally got shut down like a year ago. And when they did that and they got sued for millions of dollars, they're probably still working to pay back. What happened after that? Everybody else who was working on an emulator zip their lips and shut the hell up. I forget the name of it. There was one that was like in development that they were like, actually, we're gonna cancel ours now because it's like, oh, there's like an actual consequence has now been set. There's like a bar. There's an example that's been put out there right now with AI. It's like the Wild West, where it's like an unspoken thing. We're like, we're not supposed to be doing this, but also no one's getting in trouble for it, so we're just gonna keep doing it. But like the first guy who gets like successfully sued for $500 million because he was making like Toy Story AI is going to scare the shit out of everybody else who hosts a server where people can do that. Suddenly they're going to make it either harder to do it, or it's going to be more quiet backdoor, or some of these websites are going to shut down on their own because a lot of people do not want to get a 143-page lawsuit filed against them by the Walt Disney Corporation. They just don't. So I think that it's not necessarily too late. I'm not saying that this lawsuit ends and generative AI technology gets destroyed and we go back to 10 years ago when it didn't exist. But I think that it changes a lot. I think that it would materially change how a lot of this stuff operates.
Well,
very
their
quickly.
website is down. Like you go to their website and it's just service
Oh, my
outage.
goodness.
So like they have actually like they're completely like their cease and desist. They've just stopped. So I mean that's
Jeez.
something, right? They've actually stopped. But the more better a program is, obviously it's a good AI generator because you can't tell the difference, right? That's the key, right? So there's all these
Yeah.
shitty ones you can clearly look at in 2 seconds, tell it's real AI, but there are some on my social media feeds I'm just like, is that AI? And I have to look at it like really closely for like a few seconds to be like, okay, it is or it isn't, right? It's just like it's one of those things. It's just technology evolves. And like it's always the older generation because like that's me now. Like we'll be fooled by that stuff more than younger generations will. Just like the email scams that our parents fell for. Oh, hi, I need Target gift cards, or otherwise your internet or your house is going to be foreclosed upon, or whatever you owe taxes. Like technology preys on people who are misinformed or don't understand what's happening. You and I are plugged in a little bit more consistently, so we kind of understand that. But someone who's not, like you said, I know that it's bullshit when there's a Tom Holland poster because that shit would have been fucking blowed up everywhere if he was doing a new Spider movie instantaneously. And when I see it in one Facebook group and that's it, and nowhere else, I know it's bullshit. But not everyone understands that, right? They like you said, they go to the coffee table and then misinformation spreads and it goes crazy. And the fact is that like, look how far we've come from AI generation since that Will Smith spaghetti video, several years ago or 5 years ago.
I saw the new one where he's eating it, and it still looks weird, but it looks a lot better than that one from
because these companies are investing billions and billions and billions of dollars, and it's not just like at the core principle. Yeah, you're like, yeah, okay, it's a stupid image generator. Like, who gives a shit? But like this stems even farther than that. You know, there's this could protect. This is gonna cause a problem for creators. It's gonna cause a problem for artists. It's gonna cause a problem for lots of businesses, not just Disney. Right? Like
It's going to
that's
cause problems for governments and
it's yeah,
armies.
everything. I mean, didn't I think our state passed a law about deep fakes? Like you can't, like, you know what I mean? Because they're really
Oh, wow.
concerned about misinformation spreading. I mean, I've seen Elon Musk try to sell me crypto on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like it's clearly AI, but it's getting out of control, completely not out of control. But like it's not that but I still think that it's like you can't put the tube back in the toothpaste. You can't. It's out. Like you can shut one down, five more are gonna start up. You know what I mean? Like this is like, and this is a little bit different. Like ROMs, emulators, and ROMs, I think, are easier to maintain and manage than an image generator where the user can just type in a prompt and create anything that the internet has ever put out in the history of the internet. I think it's a lot harder to regulate that than it is to regulate like a zip file full of Nintendo ROMs. But that's
Wait,
just
really?
me.
No, I feel the opposite because like a ROM is just a file. It's not like active. Like you could put a ROM on a flash drive, pull it out your computer, and just hold it in your hands and
Mhm.
have the flash drive with the ROMs on it. But with AI stuff, you need one, a connection to the internet, and two, that connection needs to ping to a server farm somewhere in a warehouse that's got like NVIDIA 5080 GPUs that are like plugged into 20 outlets and it's surging power. I feel like that's easy to regulate because you can shut all that shit down. Once the servers start getting pulled and they start shutting, there's nothing, there's nowhere to generate. I feel like that's there's like you need those external forces to keep generative AI going the way we know it. But we'll see. I mean, something's gonna come of this. This is one of those stories that I'm sure we're gonna write a shit ton about this, similar to like
Oh
Epic
no,
and
yeah, it's ever
Epic Games
evolving
and
and it's
Apple.
not going away. That's the two things you'll know. It's ever evolving
Um,
and not leaving. So it's here. It's here. It's to stay. It's the next, whatever you want to call it, evolution, dystopian, whatever. It's the next process of tech. Is AI, not just generative AI, but just AI that in anything, writing, images, data analysis. Like this is not done. You know what I mean? That's not done. We're on our way rapidly to a cyberpunk dystopian future, Donovan. So.
maybe, maybe. I, for one, see a bright future ahead for myself and the rest of the world. I think that we're all gonna achieve great prosperity.
Like, look
Um,
how good that Toy
what
Story picture looks. Like that does not look that.
of him holding the marker?
It
Yeah.
like obviously like
Woody look.
it's weird because it's a pencil. Like the prompt's weird. It's like it's a pen or a pencil, but it does. I don't know any pencil that looks like that. But like the Woody thing is like dead on.
Woody looks good. If you look at the pencil, it's supposed to say something, and it's just like gibberish.
Yeah, can't
But the
generate text
pencil
yet.
itself looks good. The pencil itself does look good. Yeah, no, for sure. It has gotten strong, and it will only get stronger. Now, Greg, we're done with our news stories for the day. But boy, have there been a lot of shows and movies that you and I have watched
Oh
over the
yeah,
last
we've
few
watched a shit ton
weeks.
of stuff. Oh my god, so much stuff.
You sent me a laundry list of programs that you and your lovely wife have watched over the past few weeks. So please, I would like for you to take the floor and tell us. You can start wherever you want out of the things you've got listed here.
Where do you wanna start?
Take it away, Penny. How about this? You just text or messaged me about this one last night. So how about Severance? How far are you into Severance now at this point?
Episode 6 or 7. Episode 6 or 7. I think there's 9, right?
In season one, I think so. It's 8 or 9.
Um, it's a little slow. It's a little slow. Almost
9.
a little too slow. Like Nicole's really struggling to maintain interest. I look over and she's on her phone. So like, I mean, I'm trying to like be engaged because everyone says how good it is. So I'm really trying to like pay attention but it is a bit slow, a bit art housey, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like it's beautifully shot. I think it's shot beautifully. Like I think all the framing's great. All the art direction is great. Production is fun to watch and interesting. It has like a very 60s kind of almost like Stanley Kubrick type of vibe to it.
I can see that.
But
Yeah.
like as an editor, this is rare that I get to say this. As an editor, I watch these shows that are like anywhere from 44 to 58. They all vary, but I could literally cut probably 35% of the runtime down just based on superfluous shots, extended shots, shots lingering too long, just for the pacing to be better. You don't need Mr. Malik, who's the
Milchick.
Milchick, like testing the door 20 times. Once is fine. You know what I mean? Like you're establishing that the door closes and it locks. You don't need to do it 20 times. One was enough. There's other things too. The shots that they harken back that stand just way too long. We don't need to see Mark put all the pictures back in the picture frame. One would have been fine. Like weird stuff that just extends a little bit longer. And I think that just falls because it's like it's an artsy show. So like they just do weird things.
See, to me, I think it's definitely intentional. I think a lot of it
Yeah.
is supposed to create this feeling of unease and like peculiarness, right? Where it's like you don't know exactly why something's happening the way it is, but it's weird that it is. Like, when, like you said, when they show the shot of him doing the door 20 times. Like it's weird. Like I think they hold on that shot because you're supposed to watch it and think, why? Like he's still doing it. He's still doing it. It's supposed to give you that weird feeling of unease where like your brain subconsciously knows that like this shouldn't happen this way or this should have moved on. I think obviously you see it as an editor, but I think that Severance does so much to kind of build up that feeling of like something just being off and feels weird. Even when things seem mundane, there's just something weird about it. The way people talk or type on a keyboard or look at each other or open a door or do anything that you wouldn't think twice about in regular life. Everything just becomes so strange and peculiar, and it creates that weird paranoia where you're just like waiting for the like something to explode or for everything to kind of go crazy. Um, I don't know. I thought that season one does a great job of building that mystery. I think that it's just so intriguing trying to figure out what is actually happening here. That every episode I was just like, what in the freaking hell is going on with this one?
No, yeah, and like I do don't make mistake my words. I am enjoying the show, but I just think the pacing still like when Who Done It or mystery shows, you need a little bit more. You need more crumbs. Like it doesn't give us enough crumbs, and then once in a while you get like a big
Okay.
crumb, but then like there's like a whole episode where you get like nothing, and you're like, come on, like my thing is, does it move the story forward? Right? Does it contribute to the story? And a lot of it doesn't. It's just an artsy shot or an extended artsy shot, and like I guess they're trying to go for an evenness, but like the production design already
Ben
creates
Stiller,
that.
man,
It
he's
already
having a great
creates that
time making this.
the large, vast, empty rooms that are 60s, very Kubrick-esque type of sets. That creates a sense of unease already, and there I guess it's just too
Yeah.
much, and you're just like, okay. Um, Also, like I'm a big fan of world building, and they do a little bit of world building in the first couple episodes, but like I'm still kind of confused on what exactly Lumen is. It's like everyone keeps talking about what it is. Oh, it's a huge company.
No, that's the they can't give you that explicitly though. That's like the whole mystery of the show though. That's the they can't be like Lumen is the company that does this and they were founded this. That's the whole point of the mystery is like you don't know what is up with Lumen, right? They seem like this weird kind of like metaphor for like Apple kind of is the vibe I always got, which is silly. It's funny because it's an Apple TV show, but like I think Severance is world building in a really interesting way that I would kind of compare to a movie I'm going to review after you're done with this. But like where they don't explicitly tell you, hey, this is what this company is, this is how they work. Whereas instead you see it through the lens of like the people there, where like the people that work at Severance don't really know what the fuck, or that work at Severance, that work at Lumen don't really know what the fuck is going on there because of the whole Severance thing, where their minds they're like, my Audi knows, more than I do, but I'm just kind of here, and this is just like what my life is. I like that you just kind of see it through their lens. I think a lot of the mystique is gone if they just kind of tell you what Lumen's
Well, I mean,
all
obviously,
about.
whatever they would
But
say is a lie, right? Oh, they're a medical company, or they're a textile plant,
yeah,
or whatever. It's a
yeah,
lie, right? Like it's obviously a lie. They're
mhm,
doing something different. I think I think there's a lot of interesting plays on like capitalism and working and enslavement and like
yeah,
your cubicle
yeah.
office environments. I think they do a lot of plays on that. Like there's a lot. It's very artsy and it's but it does have a lot of subtext, like a lot of subtext.
Even in Humanity and Independence, I'd say season two gets into it a lot more. I know you said it's slow. I would be so curious to hear what you think of the season one finale, the end of this season you're watching. To me, I think it's an amazing finale. I'd be very curious to hear if your thoughts on it. I think if you watch the finale of this season and you don't like it, you could probably stop because I think the season finale is great. I think if you don't like the finale, then you probably just won't. It won't be your kind of show. But I think that I like where the season goes. Season two, I think, is a bit up and down, but also kind of really brings it around at the end. But it's fair. It's definitely one of those shows though that's not like an everybody show, you know? Like there are some shows you watch and you're like, everybody I know needs to watch this. Like everyone I know with a TV should watch this show. As much as I like Severance, it's not that kind of show. Like I would never tell my parents to watch Severance, despite how much they love watching TV, because I think they would be like bored to tears after two episodes and they'd probably just turn it off. But I think that if you can kind of vibe with its pacing and its mystery, I think there's a lot to enjoy with it. And like you said, it's a very visually striking show.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
production
that
design stellar. I mean,
you
like
know,
the Nicole looks. I'm watching my wife watch this show with me, and whenever there's
yeah,
like whenever a breadcrumb drops, or whenever like the mystery starts to unfold, she looks up. But everything in between, she's on her phone. So like, and like
sure,
that's and like I'm not on my phone. I'm actually legitimately just trying to watch the show and seeing if it unfolds. So I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, and like it just
yeah,
happens. The mystery's intriguing. I just think the mystery pacing could be faster.
sure.
Like just that's all. But we're gonna watch. We're gonna probably finish it tonight, and I can talk about it next
Oh,
week to
okay,
see what we think. So because
yeah.
we're like
Hit
one or
me
two
up,
episodes
message me.
away.
Message me. I'm very curious to hear what you think of the finale. I don't want to give anything away. It's a good finale. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay. Do you want to do a thing, or should I jump into a
You can
thing?
do thing. We can rotate. What did you see last week or last 3 weeks?
Um, let me go backwards. It's been a couple weeks since the show ended already, but The Last of Us season 2 has finished. And if you've seen the marketing, you know that it adapts the second video game, The Last of Us Part 2, which obviously came out, gosh, a decade apart from the first game, or it was like 7 years between Last of Us Part 1 and 2 video games. But the second show, or the second season of the show, is out and done. And not going to bury the lead. I thought it was a pretty strong step down in quality from season 1. Um, The Last of Us Part 2, to me, is a masterpiece of a video game. I know it's divisive. I know people argue to this day about story decisions. I remember the leaks were so controversial, and so it just all became so inflammatory. But I think The Last of Us Part 2 is a 10 out of 10 video game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I think it's such a touching, raw, impactful, gripping story about revenge and the cycle of violence and the way that it just corrupts everything it touches. Um, and there's just so much to chew on in that game. And I rolled credits on The Last of Us Part 2, and I did something that I never do. I just stared at the screen blankly with the controller in my hands for the entirety of the credits. And then when it stopped and I was put back at the main menu, I just stared at the main menu for like 2 more minutes before I eventually like snapped out of it and went on with the rest of my day. Um, because I thought it was that impactful, and it's so emotionally moving, and it's so sad and like depressing in ways that you don't expect. And it sounds like hyperbole, but it really does like push the limits of like storytelling in video games, in my opinion. And I think with that, the ceiling or the expectations are just so high for a show adapting that storyline, and they're not done. The end of the season does not finish the game. They're like 40% through the game at this point. But I watched it, and by the end of the finale, I felt none of that. I didn't feel that rawness. I didn't feel that emptiness. I didn't feel that like that heavy sense of like sorrow or hopelessness. Um, it's trying. It's like it's like watching a reenactment of the story where they've got the characters. Ellie and Abby are there. Um, I'll say, the big shocking death early in the season happens like it does in the game. It's all there, and some of it's fine, but it just lacks so much weight to me, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong, the show still looks good visually. The sets are great. They're shooting it on location. We're in Jackson, so it's all snowy. They shot this shit during a real snowstorm, I believe, in one of the episodes where it's snowing. Very well made. There was an attention to detail there, which is very cool. But the writing, man, I don't know. Craig Mazin, who's like the lead writer on this show, dude wrote fucking Chernobyl, one of the most celebrated miniseries of the last several years. Obviously, also wrote season 1. So many of the character decisions just feel weird and weak. And like specifically with the Ellie character, like Ellie, the heart of the story, who obviously, from going from the Last of Us Part 1 to 2, she goes from being supporting character protagonist to like the main protagonist. And then along sharing the spotlight with Abby as you unfold that story. But like I think what was so special about going from the Last of Us Part 1 to 2, those games, is that there's like a 6, 7 year time difference. Or no, it's like 5 years, like a 5 year time gap. Because Ellie's 14 in the first game, and then she's 19 in the second game. She's taller, she's more mature, she's got tattoos. She's much more hardened. She's been in and out of relationships. You can tell so much has happened to that character. Then obviously what she deals with in the beginning of that game sets her down this just evil path of just vengeance consuming her entirety. You know, this character who in the first game is reading from like knock knock jokes in like nursery rhyme books and is like so silly and childlike and talks about wanting to be an astronaut. She's wearing the helmet at the space station, space center and whatnot, and she's like this light of happiness and hope in the apocalypse. And then in the second one, she is just this like endless void of sadness and anger and rage all throughout that game. And it eventually kind of costs her everything. And you just don't get that in the second one. She's still in The Last of Us season two. It feels like it's still season one Ellie. Now, obviously, part of that's because they shot the shows a couple years apart. I mean, Bella Ramsey's, I think she's like 19 or maybe like 20 at this point in real life. I'm sorry, they're not going to age that much over a couple years as you do in the video games. But even the way they write the character, she still feels like that goofball Ellie from the first one. Even when she goes on her revenge tour, like Ellie in Last of Us Part Two is like killing innocent people. She's like stabbing people in the throats and like watching them choke on their own blood as she like growls at them like an animal. And in this one, it's like boom, oops, I shot this person. What have I done? I didn't mean to do that. Oh my god, I'm a monster. And it's like they try to. I think part of it comes from the fact that like they were afraid to make her the monster that she is in the games because, and we talk about this. It's hard to root for a villain. Playing a game, watching a show or a movie, it's hard to root for somebody who seems like they're objectively in the wrong. And I think something so special about The Last of Us Part Two is you don't want to believe that Ellie's the bad guy because she's the main character. Everyone loves Ellie. It's Ashley Johnson. It's a beloved character, performed so perfectly. But in the show, it feels like they want to kind of not give her. They don't want to make her as nasty as she is in the game, and I think you lose a lot of the commentary from that. So it just comes off as like a softer, sterile, watered down adaptation of The Last of Us Part Two.
Do you
It's
think? Do you
disappointing.
think that's because the first? I only saw the first season. Nicole wasn't into the first season, so we stopped watching. But the first season was almost, aside for some like side stuff they explored, like it was one for one. Like it was one for one from the game, one for one for the lines, for the stuff that was happening. Like everything, like the core stuff, all the core pillars that happened in the game were like
Right.
verbatim copy paste from the live action. So me, I stopped because I was like, well, I know how this ends. I know where it's going, so I don't need to watch it, right? And Nicole checked out, so we checked out. Do you think that criticism of the first season went into the second season and they're like, well, now we need to put our own stamp on it because people just either we just copied the game too much, we wanted to put our own spin on it, we wanted to put our own take on it? Do you feel like that is kind of what happened after the first to second season? Because usually you don't see that kind of drop off in writing after a good season, but it feels like to me what you're describing to me is them going, well, in the game they do this, but we really really want to like put our own spin on it and how our opinion of this evolution would happen, right?
I mean, I'm sure as a writer, it's hard to not hear the criticisms of your work. But to me, the way it hit me was just that, hey, maybe The Last of Us Part 2 is not an easy video game to adapt. Maybe there's a reason it exists as a video game, and that's the medium that it was made for, and that's why it wasn't a show in the first place. We have zombie TV show, we had The Walking Dead and its infinite spin-offs, and we had World War Z, and we had Day of the Dead. Like there is zombie media on the screen already. 28 days later, like to me, just watching this, I was like, oh, like The Last was Part Two is that hard to nail. It's not an easy story. It is a very complicated, messy, disturbing story. I think that there's an argument to be made that maybe it just doesn't work in TV form, and they realized that writing it, and they tried to adapt it as best as they could, and it just is inferior. Maybe what you said is part of it. And don't get me wrong, there's some stuff that they do really well in the show. There's an episode where they kind of dive back into Joel's backstory and like some of the shit that he did that happened between the events of seasons one and two that
Yeah, the
the game
side
doesn't
stuff
really
they're
do.
good at too. They're good at the first season too.
Very
Did some
good.
side exploration. Yeah.
Episode three of the first season, long time with freaking Bill and Frank, Nick Offerman playing Bill. One of the best seasons of TV last 5 years. So good. None of that's in the game. Bill and Frank, you just find Frank, you just find his dead body in a house. Um, yeah, so they do good stuff. There's a storyline in this show, season two, where they kind of talk about a Catherine O'Hara's character. I believe she's a new character in the show, but like they talk about how her husband um got bitten and Joel shot him because it's the rules. You get bitten by a zombie, you got to go. And then they show how it actually went down, and it's like this moral like thing where it's like he wants to go back to say goodbye to his wife, but Joel's like, "Hey, buddy, you were like going to turn into a zombie by then," and it's like this, and I thought that was all really interesting. Um, that stuff was good, but it's when they're trying to tackle that main story so bad. I think they do a terrible disservice to the Ellie character. I know people have critiqued Bella Ramsey's acting in this. I don't think they're doing that bad of a job. I think the writing is just not serving that actor well. Isabella Merced, who plays Dina, chef's kiss, excellent. She is in a different TV show. Watching her every scene where she talks, Dina was one of my favorite characters in the game. She is probably the best adapted character in the damn show. So good, and maybe it's just a testament to how good of an actress Isabella Merced is, but she's great. Caitlin Dever, who plays Abby. I know people were mad at first because Caitlin Dever is like a slim build actress. She's like not like a super huge or muscular woman. And if you play the game, they say that Abby was built like an ox. They talk about her like she's a fucking folklore creature. Um, and that's not Caitlin Dever. And sure, I guess you could be upset about that. Personally, it didn't bother me. I thought she gives a good performance. Again, she does the villain monologue thing in like the second episode where she shows up and she tells you her entire plan. She tells you why she's doing everything. She's like, "You did this to me. You're the reason my life is so terrible. This is my revenge for you doing that thing I just told you about." Whereas in The Last of Us Part 2, she just shows up and you're
It's a
like, "Who the
slow
fuck is
build
this?"
in that game, yeah, to
Dude,
what the hell's
so that's why
happening.
part two. She just shows up and she's like, "Fuck you," and she does what she does. I'm not gonna spoil it. And then she pieces out and she's like, "Get fucked, everybody. Goodbye." And you're like, "Why would this person do that? Why would this person do that terrible thing?" And then over a 35-hour story, you learn why. Whereas the season two is not going to be 35 hours. Even if they break it up into three seasons, it's not going to be 35 hours. So she just tells you. She just shows up and she's like, "Yeah, you did this and that, and this is my revenge for that." And it's like, well, all the you know
Mystery is now gone.
cinematic, yeah, the mystery's gone, yeah, all the gravitas of it all is gone.
No, you
So
speaking of
I
too,
don't want
like
to harp on it too long, but
in
it's
the
it's
game
sweet.
too, like it's like a 5 year break between 1 and 2, but in the game that story takes over the place like 3 years, doesn't it? Like it takes place over a
It's like a
long period.
year. It's like a year and a half. Yeah, there's like a part where they jump ahead a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
it's a
I
good amount
remember
of
it was like
time.
6 months later. I'm like, damn, like just that's kind of to the point.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the thing is that these genres have been done to death, right? Like, I mean, The Walking
They
Dead
have.
arguably did it the best. I'm gonna put the best, right? Because it's about
Depends what season,
human.
yeah.
It's about human interaction. It's about like what happens when society falls. It's kind of a western. Like the zombies kind of take a back seat. Sorry, zombies kind of take a back seat to everything, and it's more about the human condition and how people are acting and their interactions with society and what happens, that kind of stuff. And that's really interesting. But The Walking Dead arguably does it the best. And this thing is a game, but they've never been The Last of Us 1 and 2 are excel at a video game. It's better than any Walking Dead game they've ever made in the history of whatever. So maybe it's just like you said, it just doesn't adapt well into film. Just
Yeah,
doesn't work.
it's why we call them adaptions, because you have to change things to bring it to another medium. And look, they tried. There's still good things about it. I think it looks awesome. The freaking makeup on the clickers, I think, is so creepy and real. But yeah, it's just an inferior version of The Last of Us Part Two. It just is. It just is. They're gonna do a season three. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I will watch it from beginning to end. But yes, a diehard fan of The Last of Us Part Two, it is a bit underwhelming, despite good performances and good production quality. Um, I think what matters most to me is the writing, and that's where it falls the shortest.
Mhm.
Um, but we can move on. Let's bust through some more reviews. What do you got? Something else you want to jump into?
Yeah, I watched. You can pick my next one. I did the greatest beer one ever made: Havoc, Fountain of Youth, Four Seasons, and Fear Street Prom Queen.
Ooh, tell me about Fear Street, because I have you seen the other three, the ones that they
Yes.
did on Netflix? I loved that trilogy, but then I haven't even seen the new one because it came out. Everybody was like, "That was shitty," so I haven't watched it yet. But tell me what you thought of Prom Queen.
Oh no, it's good. I mean, like it's if you know the
Oh,
Fear
okay, you
Street,
liked it.
if you know the Fear Street series, it's an enjoyable experience. I thought it was weird that they released it uh for prom instead of Halloween. I think that's going to be a kind of a detriment to it
Yeah.
because
Well, it's prom season, April,
right,
right?
they released it during
Or
prom
April,
season.
May.
Yeah, and it takes place in 1988. And it's just it's every the acting's good, the set design's great, the music's great, the twist is interesting. We called it a little bit like they do the stuff that have you seen Donovan yet? Have you seen it?
Not this one, no.
Okay, at one point you think this girl's getting away, and there's a nice little twist that we didn't expect to happen. We're like, oh shit, and that was kind of cool. But it's more of
Okay.
the same stuff. If you like the Fear Street series, it's exactly what it is. It has, it has interesting deaths, little over the top, some of them, but like the story's prominent, the mystery's interesting, the characters are fun to watch, and the people that
Okay.
die, they make you they make you hate the people that most of the people that die, they make you hate them.
Right. Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I said, like has a good twist. You're actually gonna really like it because the amount of Scream influence is like real. Like the terms in
I mean,
terms,
dude, that was
yeah.
the first Fear Street, and it was like 1997, I think they called it. That one, the opening of that movie is straight up Ghostface in that like retail store or whatever. But yeah,
Well, in terms of story, like it's a very, I was like, wow, that's exactly like Scream. Like it's very similar story to
Mm,
Sydney and like that kind of stuff with like this girl. And I can't say without spoiling it, but it's very similar with like to the Scream. So if
sure.
you liked that Scream story, you'll like this because it's very similar to that. And like, it has some good twists, great acting. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's great. It's great. Check it out.
Cool.
We released during
All right.
Prime season, which is weird, but yeah, it's still very good. Nicole and I watched
This
it, and she wasn't on her phone, so that's that's
There you
always a
go.
good sign. Yeah, always a good sign.
This
Recommend it.
this might be one I don't end up watching until Halloween, but I'll throw it on. This is like me and my friends are having a Halloween party, and we just throw this movie on at like 8 o'clock, starting the night off, having some drinks, chilling. So I'll keep it on the radar. All right, let's jump into another one. Um, I guess it's my turn. I should jump into one.
Yes,
Um, I watched Bring Her Back. It's a new movie. Um, I think it's distributed by A24, directed by the Philippou brothers, who are a couple of Australian mates. Sam is a big fan of theirs, as an Australian lad himself. And these are the guys who made a movie called Talk to Me, Greg, a few years ago. Was this horror movie with the
the
hand, and he
hand,
grabbed
right?
it
And
and
you can
it
talk to
possessed
the
you.
people on the other side. You reviewed it.
Yeah,
You spoke very highly of that film as well.
it is those directors. This is their second movie. It's called Bring Her Back, and I liked it a good bit. So I'll say it's much less like it's much darker than Talk to Me was. Talk to Me was like a party movie, like literally and like in its design. Like there's a party in the movie, but it's also just like the kind of horror movie you watch with as many people as possible, and you're all like yelling and laughing together because it's got that like fun raucous vibe to it. Whereas Bring Her Back is a lot darker, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of what's happening here, but it gets into the like occult and the rituals of shit. And it's got like Sally Hawkins is in it as this foster parent for this young girl who's like partially blind. She says I believe she can only see like shapes and colors. And then her older brother who's like 17, about to turn 18, and is saying he wants to apply for like guardianship of her once he turns 18. And it's them living with this new foster parent, and they find out there's like this other kid that lives there with her already named Oliver, and they find out that there's just some weird ass fucking shit going on with this woman, and she's got some dark ass stuff going on, and it's just this like unraveling, creepy. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like got shades of like it's got some found footage segments in there, but it's also like the slow burn of like it's the classic like, oh, this caretaker is obviously crazy or there's something wrong with this person, but what is it? And she has like this dark past that kind of comes to light. And I think that when you dig into it, it's a very interesting like way to tackle like grief and like loss and people who just can't live with grief and loss, when it comes to like loved ones and stuff. I thought that stuff was actually pretty heavy. Um, I think if you're, a parent or you've got like very young siblings or nieces and nephews, like I think parts of this movie are going to be kind of like tough, be a little tough. Um, but I thought it was good. I think that it's got some good scares, not a lot of jump scares, just really unsettling and creepy imagery. It's gory. There's not nonstop violence. It's not like Saw, right? Where like every 10 minutes somebody's getting their head ripped off. But when it's time to be gory, it's very hard to look at the screen. I saw it with a close friend of mine, and he loves horror. He'll watch anything and everything. There were at least 3 or 4 moments in the movie where like we both looked at each other and we just stared at each other because we didn't want to look at the screen. We just looked at each other like this with our hands over our mouths for like 20 seconds while we just listened to like the disgusting sounds. We're like, I'm not looking, and then we look back at the screen because it gets a little gross in there. But I thought it was good. I don't think it doesn't hit the highs of Talk to Me for me. Talk to Me at its craziest is like, whoa, I can't believe this is somebody's first movie. Bring Her Back is a bit more like in line with what you expect. Um, I wish Sam Chandler was awake. He's probably still asleep for a few more hours because he loved this movie. Obviously, this is an Australian film. It takes place in Australia. All the characters have Australian and British accents. Sam ran out and saw it. Very cool of those directors. Well, just to zoom out, I love that the Michael and I think it's Michael and Danny Philippou. I love that they keep making their movies in Australia. Everybody is Australian and has Australian accents. A lot of times you'll see foreign directors come and shoot in America, or they'll make a movie with Hollywood actors, and it kind of, they lose some of those roots. I love that they're just making these Australian ass movies that are now getting A24 releases because they've put a hit out there. That's really cool for them. Um, but yeah, I'd give it like a positive recommendation, I'd say, with the caveat that depending on your sensitivity to certain subjects regarding parenthood and children in horror movies, some of this movie may be hard to watch for you. But I think if you're down to clown, it's got a lot to chew on.
I mean, I'm a fan of the occult. Like, I'm a fan of like those lores and mythos of witches
Mhm.
and demons and stuff. And this looks like an exorcist piece to me. Like, it looks like a
Ooh, I'm
possession
glad you said the
piece.
lore.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned we were talking about Severance, and I said that Severance does its world building similar to a movie I watched, this is
Hmm.
what I was talking about.
Okay.
So Bring Her Back is a thing where like there's obviously a much larger universe here. Like this story follows like three, four like characters really, but like there are things that pop up that are very obviously part of a greater like lore that they never really explain, which to me works because it makes it more creepy, and I like not having everything explicitly laid out. But I'll give you an example. You see her carrying this camcorder around. There's a parts where you watch the footage, and in the bottom, all the text is in Russian. Like on the bottom of the camcorder, like the little like all the like the UI shit is all in Russian, and they don't translate. They don't tell you what it says, and it just comes up just a couple times. And this is in Australia. There's no Russian characters, no reference to Russian anything. But it's like stuff like that where it's like, okay, there's like more to this. This is like some shit she has found from like some other, there's clearly a story behind that why she has a Russian camcorder for whatever these demonic rituals or whatever is going on here. It's stuff like that that they show. Um, and they're like these sigils that they don't explain. The way that possession works is a little weird. I'm not gonna reveal how they do it. I'll tell you later because I know you don't care about spoilers. But
No,
like,
that's fun.
there's
Yeah, that's
stuff.
fun. They don't twist on
Yeah,
it. That's the whole point with horror and like these kind of things.
yeah,
Like vampires, you lean into your own version of like what it is.
hmm
That's why it works really well
yeah,
with horror and the occult. How do spirits work? How does possession work? Like
yeah,
the white. I don't know if it's salt, but they have like a white line. Could be salt. Salt wards
yep,
off spirits. They can't
hmm
cross bodies of water. Salt. She's bathing in water. Water's. It's like there's a lot of cool stuff
yeah.
that's like cemented in
But
like demon lore that you twist differently, which is interesting. I find that the most
and
interesting of all. Yeah.
but what I like about it, again, I don't know how this will hit you, but they don't explain it, at least overly. It's just you watch it and you infer. You're like, okay, she's doing that because, like you just said, she's drawing the lines. You assume there's some sort of like spiritual thing there. The movie doesn't go, you must draw the circle because that is how you open up the. They
No,
don't
that's
tell you
fine. No,
that.
no
You,
exhibition is great.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
part of the natural world building. If you're familiar with like the occult, you're gonna know. Yeah,
yeah,
like the significance
and
of
that
water or the
stuff.
significance of salt, right? Like that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. You'll know. So
That stuff I appreciate. And also, dude, the cinematography, these directors or whoever the hell they work with as a DP, it's so brilliant. I told you it's like the one character is partially blind. She says in the beginning of the movie that, hey, like I can only see colors and shapes. And when she walks into a building for the first time, she immediately reaches out and like touches the wall. That's how she like navigates. She's like traces the wall so you can feel, hey, there's a corner, there's a doorknob here. And obviously she's in like the new house, she's feeling around. And they do a thing where like when she walks into a room for the first time, the background is out of focus, so you just see the back of her head and her hand, and everything else is like you know how something looks when it's out of focus in a camera. It's all like blurry. It's colors and shapes, and it's such a clever way to like make you see through her eyes without doing a first person shot. It's like that's how she sees the world. Like they throw the camera out of focus. You know someone's talking to her, but you just see a blurred shape walking up to her, and then it snaps into focus when they get close. Stuff like that with the camera is so smart and savvy. I'm watching. I'm like, that's fucking filmmaking, right? Like if I was writing an essay, if I was like in my college like film class doing a mise en scène, like that's some shit I'd be writing about. Which I can always respect cool technical stuff like that.
well, have you ever
But
seen The Exorcist?
yeah, I have great one of the
Okay,
greatest
yeah,
horror
yeah,
movies
yeah,
ever made.
yeah. It's one of those like core pillars of like horror, right? Like that a lot of directors, young and old, like refer to that as motivate as inspiration, right? And I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
I feel like it's one of those first films that ever did what it did right, and it's just shattered just generations, like in a good way, like just inspired generations of filmmakers.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot in this, and that's cool. Like but they said, like you said, it's their own twist, their own take on it, which is why horror, I think, and supernatural horror is so successful in that regard, right?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely a lot of Exorcist DNA in here. A little bit of like The Ring kind of feel. Got some like even like some Shyamalan I saw somebody mention, which I didn't think of, but when I heard someone else say it, I was like, I could see that. Some of the little out there stuff, but it's good. If you're interested in it, I'd recommend it. Like I said, there are some caveats, but I thought this was a pretty good movie. Okay, Greg, I'll hit the tennis ball back to your side of the court. Ugh.
Slice. What do they say? I don't know sports. Is it slice?
Slice.
I don't no idea.
I don't think so.
Let's start with okay. I can do Fountain of Youth, Havoc, or the Greatest Beer One Ever. I don't know which one you want.
What is Fountain of Youth? I haven't heard of this one.
That's the Indiana Jones. It's the Guy Ritchie movie. With
Guy Ritchie.
You know what's funny? Nicole wanted to watch this. At the second she said that, I was like, Guy Ritchie. Oh man. Like I was like, really?
Oh no.
Okay, I can do Fountain of Youth. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the trailer.
Krasinski. Okay, wait. Isaac Gonzalez, great actress. She was great in Baby Driver. Natalie Portman, Domhnall Gleeson, Stanley Tucci. This is a good cast. Laz Alonso, freaking Mother's Milk from The Boys. John Krasinski's cool. I mean, the movie does not look good, but they do have a good cast. Oh, it's a streaming movie. It all makes sense now.
So it's a movie about the Fountain of Youth, about an art thief / like expeditionist Indiana Jones type character who joins his sister and her son on a quest to find the Fountain of Youth. This movie does not know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be Indiana Jones. It doesn't know if it wants to be National Treasure. It doesn't want to know. It doesn't want to know if it wants to be what's the PlayStation movie with the that Tom Holland did that was terrible. The treasure hunting movie that's a PlayStation exclusive. Naughty Dog does it.
Uncharted.
Doesn't know if it wants to be Uncharted. Doesn't know if it wants to be the Da Vinci Code. There's so much going on in this film, and it has no identity. It loses itself in the identity of not knowing what kind of movie it wants it to be. I was on my phone half the time watching this movie. There are so many superfluous chase scenes and fight scenes. They have a team, right? Like you said, the guy from The Boys is in it, and they have this, but like they never feel like a team because they're just so shoehorned in and they never really do anything. It mainly focuses on Natalie Portman's character, Jack Straczynski's character, and her son. And one of I was Guy Ritchie, and I rolled my eyes too. I was like, I'm not really a fan of his work. I think Snatch was like the thing everyone latches onto when they think Guy Ritchie, and that movie's 30 years old at this point. Yeah, and Stanley Tucci's in it too. Like it has this all-stellar cast. And it doesn't know, it has a lack of identity from trying to spread itself out too far for a lack of identity. There's way too many fight scenes. There's way too many car chase scenes. There's way too many action scenes. I really don't, one of my pet peeves in movies is I really don't like it when kids don't act like kids. I mean, Signs is a great film, but for the love of God, I cannot stand kids who act that way, because what 9-year-old acts that way? Maybe one with like severe trauma. But like, it bugs me. Like, act like a kid. Like, you're pulling me out of the role when these kids are weird. Like more weird than usual. They try to do like some romantic stuff between the villain, who's that other actress you talked about. Like, she's like them chasing them because she's part of, doesn't know wants to be the mummy either, because she's part of some ancient cult that guards the Fountain of Youth. Like, it has so many ideas and has no direction. A combination of bad writing. The directing's very meh. Like, it's a very blank, personalist movie. Natalie Portman's talents are wasted. Like, she's a great actor, completely wasted. She's not bad. Just
I mean, what?
Like, what do you like? You know what I mean? Like, you have Natalie Portman, and the only thing she can be is like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just very wasteful. There's these ton of like gigantic set pieces that are just like they raise a ship from the ocean and they show all of it and they search. It's all over the place. And the ending. Guy Ritchie should take a lesson. Dude, less is fucking more. Like, the ending when they find the Fountain of Youth, because spoilers, they find it. It's like this big black abyss of like all this CGI water and gold. It's just so gaudy and like so unnecessary when all you had to do was have him scoop up water and like show what you wanted to in the reflection of the water in his hand. We didn't need a 10-minute Jesus coming of age where he's raised from the water and he has to do this. It was, ugh. Ugh. My wife said it was all right. Like she likes treasure hunting movies, but like the problem is it doesn't know what kind of treasure hunting movie it wants to be, and the twist is so godforsakenly obvious. You know, tell me before Donovan, the person funding the expedition is the bad guy. Tell me,
Oh.
wow, how original! I didn't see that coming after Act 1. I just don't know. And like John Krasinski, I don't know if it's him or the bad writing or whatever. Like I
He's
just
gotta pick
can't.
better projects, man.
I can't picture him as like an
the movie
Indiana
he was
Jones
in.
guy. Like I just can't. Like he's just not. And then he can fight, which really is like, wait, what? He's an art thief, but he fights. It's very weird. And like, there's even a scene, Donovan, where the two team members like they're like, oh, look, let's get out of here, and they just like abandon them. Like there's like it's such a weird film that has a lack of identity from trying to touch on too many subjects, too many car chase scenes. It's just too much. Less is more, Guy Ritchie. Less is more. Think Snatch. Think how you made Snatch and just do that.
Think how you made Snatch and just do that. I mean, Greg, this seems like the exact stereotype of a streaming movie where it's a bunch of pretty notable, talented actors. It's an impressive cast, in a direct-to-streaming movie that has a, at best, underwhelming, undercooked script. At worst, a terrible one. And 3, it's a movie that nobody even fucking knew came out unless you were just browsing the available movies to watch thing for hours on end. Because we can't market a million movies because we produce way too many of them and they're a dime a dozen. And we usually waste the talent that we paid millions of dollars to star in it anyway. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen this movie, but there are at least 24 movies like this right now on Netflix that neither of us ever heard of. That are probably have all the exact same issues, that are structured the same way. And it's just because they're a dime a dozen. They produce them. They clearly there's a reason they keep making them. I guess I don't know. People must watch them, but yeah, I don't know. These the same way that like direct to DVD had like a stink to it when like a sequel would be direct to DVD. That's how I feel with like a lot of these streaming movies. When you tell me a movie's coming directly to Prime Video or Netflix or Apple TV or Paramount, and it's got these big famous actors in it, and the trailer looks like abysmal dog shit, I'm like, yep, that's a direct to streaming movie. There's a reason this one's not going to a theater because it would have made $100,000. So you know, I guess it's good if you just want to kill an evening and you just want some shit to throw on. Not everything has to be The Godfather or even Indiana Jones.
I know, but the time wasted,
yeah.
man. That's the type that
Exactly,
pisses
no,
me
I'm
off
with
the
you.
most. And just like
Yeah.
it's funny because at the end, like the team, 2 members of their team, they're just like, let's get out of here. And they it's like they're getting shot at. They're let's get out of here. And they turn the corner, they like punch one guy, then he gets shot, and that's it. And they're like, oh. So like I was like, are they gonna escape? And nope, they're just gonna okay. So like it was one of those things like, wait, what? Like they were gonna help, and then he immediately gets shot, and then they just fall down, and that's it. It was, I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I don't think it was, but it was like, that's stupid. Like it was just, I don't know. Yeah, it's not great. Not great. Not great. Can't recommend it. Don't recommend it. Natalie Portman is wasted. John Krasinski, I can't see you as a Indiana Jones dude guy. You can't, man. I can't see it. And they've tried this before to try to make action stars out of certain people, and this doesn't work. Like the chemistry is just not there. And apparently Nicole is watching the on-screen interviews for the show, the EPK stuff, and they're like, oh, we had John Krasinski and that other actress that you mentioned, not Natalie Portman. They had great on-screen chemistry, so we just did that. So like they only based the casting. Did you only base the casting on screen test chemistry, and that was it? You take a vote for like what you want to say? It was just, yeah. Nicole didn't. She was really upset. I was really upset. Yeah.
It's
wasted my time. All right, your turn. We have 10 minutes left. Your turn. You can go next.
Okay.
Don't watch this movie. Just go watch anything else.
Neighborhood Watch. There's a movie called Neighborhood Watch. I just ragged on streaming movies. This is a streaming movie.
Well, I think it's a certain type of streaming movie, right? I think that's your point. Yeah.
This one, okay. This movie I thought was good, like 7 out of 10 good. Where I'm just like, you know what? It didn't make me mad. It wasn't great. It's not going to make my top 10 at the end of the year, but it was decent. And I think you would like it because it's just an interesting idea. So it's Jack Quaid, who we love, is everyone's favorite Nepo baby, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's
who
a
we also
powerhouse, an absolute powerhouse.
Yep. We also love. And they are essentially, they team up. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan's like a security guard for like a local community college. and Jack Quaid has like a horrible crippling case of like schizophrenia. Like he hears a voice in his head, it talks to him, like it's voice acting. You hear a voice in his head. It often like he like hallucinates. His voice tells him like, oh, you see things that aren't there. Like people think you're insane. You should, look down at your arm, and it's like shit's happening on his arm and whatnot. But essentially Jack Quaid's character witnesses a woman being like abducted, like put into a back of a van and like driven away. And it's essentially him and Jeffrey Dean Morgan trying to find this missing woman before it's too late, because obviously people get kidnapped, takes too long, they are most likely to end up getting killed. Um, but they have to deal. They everything at every turn, the community is kind of pushing against them because one, you've got a schizophrenic person telling you that he saw somebody get kidnapped that no one's heard of, and then two, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character is kind of this like a deadbeat kind of security guard who like the stereotypical security guard who thinks he's more important than he actually is. Um, and it's kind of just them just having to trust each other and are searching for this missing woman. Um, and yeah, that's
I like buddy cop
that's
movies. That's fine. It's a buddy
yeah.
cop. That's fine. Jack Quaid is. It seems like this is a different role for Jack in this. Like it seems like he usually plays like the awkward, nerdy person, and now he's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Is he the same character in this, or is he slightly different?
He's a little awkward, I'd say. He's not too crazily out of that mold, but I think that the whole illness aspect of it, I think gives him like some interesting material
Okay.
to
Yeah.
work with. Yeah, and he's good. He's good in this. It's on Amazon Prime. I think I forget if we rented it. This might have been like a $3 Amazon or $4 Amazon thing. But we did watch it on Prime Video. I liked it. I thought it's not like profound or anything, but it's a cool little like mystery. Like you said, it's a buddy cop movie, but like neither of them are cops. It's like one guy who thinks he's a cop,
No,
and
yeah, there are
then
no cops.
one dude who doesn't even like trust like his own brain. So I thought it was interesting. Again, it does some fun stuff. I think that is like a good. I just want to throw, it's like a easy 90-minute, hour and a half little mystery movie. It's not going to offend you. You're not going to be mad that you watched it. That's like a safe watch, I'd say. If you're into that sort of thing, neighborhood watch, decent movie that nobody knows exists because it's a streaming movie.
Because there's too many movies, and Novocaine came out. Novocaine was cute. We liked Novocaine. Novocaine was good.
I like Novocaine. I watched
cute.
Novocaine. Novocaine was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Quaid's on a run, dude.
Really enjoyed it. He's
good.
got good comedic timing. Even if he falls into the, he always plays the awkward fish out of water. That's fine, man. Like lead into what people
Yeah.
enjoy you with, and like if that works for him, it works very well. He can do emotional when he gets emotional, and he does serious, and he can do comedy. So he's got good timing. So that's another one. We wanted to see this. So I want to do one more before we have 8 minutes. So a couple years ago, we saw a trailer called "The Greatest Beer One Ever," and we're like, "Oh, Nicole's
Zac
like,
Efron, baby.
we should." And another Skydance one. By the way, that's the second Skydance movie we've reviewed on the show today. The first one was the one I didn't, the Fountain of Youth. So
Yeah.
So anyway, it's based on a real story about a person in the 60s who misses all his friends because they're overseas off to war. He goes on a beer run. Like he's like, oh, it'll be cute. It's 1967. I'll take all my beer. I'll take all this beer at our local bar and I'll go drop them off while they're in Vietnam. Right. And the trailer is like really funny. And you're like, oh my God, Bill Murray's in this. And Zac Efron's got good comedic chops too. He's funny. It's directed by Peter Farrelly, one of the Farrelly brothers who did, of course, Dumb and Dumber, So They Don't Marry, like one of the two brothers. So we're like, oh, this is great. This is going to be hilarious. Donovan, I talk about I talk about this all the time on the show, and there's a movie that I like to point to that's a bait and switch. It's called Man of the Year with Robin Williams, and I always talk about it on the show about, wouldn't it be funny if an average Joe became president? And like, you think that's the concept, but no, it's a drama voter fraud story with very little humor. It's just the trailer's cut that way. This is bait and switch. We were really disappointed. Like, you slap a comedic actor in it, you slam Bill Murray's name on it, you slam Zac Efron in it, you show all the funny parts in the trailer, and you're like, oh, it's a comedy, it'll be hilarious. Like, it's a guy, dude, it's not a comedy, it's a drama. Like, it's a flat out drama. Like, that doesn't mean there aren't comedic elements in it, but like, it's a drama through and through. And like, we didn't laugh. We laughed maybe a couple times seeing it, and we couldn't get through it. And at this point in my time, like you said, with Fountain of Youth, like we watched the whole thing, but I don't waste my time anymore. I have a very limited time at night to do shit before I go to sleep. And if you're going to waste my time on a bait and switch trailer because you didn't think anyone would watch this unless it was a comedy, no, like I'm not going to watch it. So we turned it off. He gets to Vietnam, and we're like, do we want to keep watching? Not really, because it drags. He takes way too long to get to Vietnam, and we weren't really laughing about much stuff there. A lot of plays on like anti-war and what Vietnam was, and like I mean, I went through history class. I remember a lot of it, just about how soldiers came back and they were like spit on and couldn't get work anywhere. Like I know the stories. I've read them, and how it kind of switched from World War II to Vietnam, and how no one liked them there, and they said they were killing babies, the anti-war propaganda, and we shouldn't be there, all that good stuff. Is just
I love that I can tell you recently signed up for Apple TV, because all the stuff, Severance, Fountain of Youth, Greatest Beer Run Ever, it's all Apple TV original programming. Which I'm with you.
We moved.
You got to check everything out. Have you watched The Gorge yet? That's on Apple TV.
No.
That's the guy who did like The Black Phone and all of that. It's like a sci-fi kind of like weird.
I can't. Thriller. Nicole won't do horror, so it's hard to picture on horror.
I don't know if it's horror though. I think it's just a thriller. You know
okay.
If you guys watch, it's Fear Street is way more horror than what this is. But yeah.
But yeah, we canceled our HBO Max and moved to Apple, because HBO Max is like $25 a month now, and Apple's like $9.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sure.
Apple still in that honeymoon phase where they're like, we're the cheapest streaming service.
Yeah.
Because at some point everyone's the cheapest streaming service until rubber hits the road. Yeah.
My point is that like I think when you go into something thinking it's going to be a comedy and it's not, it's a bait and switch, and you feel a little like there's a sense of expectation. My expectations, I go in pretty low, but like that's not when you're like, when does it get funny? When does it get funny? When does it get funny? And it never got funny, and we're like, okay, we're done. You know what I mean? Like, because we wanted a comedy, we were in the mood for a comedy, not a drama, and that's what happens when you bait and switch a fucking trailer. People,
that's what I was gonna say is it's one thing to subvert expectations. That can be interesting and fun. But I think with comedy specifically, you're in like a certain mindset when you put on a comedy movie, So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, like Nicole and I want to watch Adolescence, but like we're waiting till we're in the right mindset to watch Adolescence. It's a heavy duty movie, right?
It is.
And so like we're waiting.
It's a show.
Yeah, show. It's just heavy to show. We're waiting. We're waiting patiently to do that. So yeah, I thought the director was good. The writing was like on paper, everything looked like a comedy. Not a comedy. Just a lot of plays on, and honestly, like the Vietnam stuff, like I feel like it's been told to death, like in cinema. Like we know the themes, we know what's happened, we know what went on over there. Maybe it's for a new generation, maybe like that's why Zac Efron's in it, for the younger generation kids. I don't know, but like I mean, these themes have been told to death in war movies for the last 30 years. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's not different, it's not tactful. It tells you all the same things that you've seen in every other Vietnam movie. A drama that you've seen, right? War is bad. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these people are people. Like, this is the same themes. It didn't do anything new for me. Production was nice. I mean, Apple throws money at production. Period pieces are expensive. Costume sets. They had real helicopters, real 1960s tanks. So like, they went all out. But yeah, don't bait and switch, Peter. Like, if I don't know what told you to like, I know I don't think it was the director.
Okay, that guy didn't make the trailer.
No, I don't think it is. I think it was someone on the marketing and was like, no one's gonna watch it if it's a drama. No one's gonna watch it if it's drama. So that's me insinuating, but still, like, yeah, I can't. Yeah. So
at the end of the day, the people who are making the trailer, their job is to convince the most amount of people as possible to watch it. Which,
yep. Let me see. Real fast, we watched, because this is gonna fall off the radar. We watched Havoc, turned it off halfway through. It wants to do film noir, doesn't know how to do film noir. It's not subtle. It's overly violent for no apparent reason. There's too many action scenes. It has some of the most egregious CGI car chases I've ever seen in a fucking movie. Like, just like, these cars don't follow the rules of physics at all. Like, it's not like, it's egregious. It looks like a video game, dude. Like it looks like a video game trying to look cool, like in their sets, but everything's fake. Everything is just so much. There's such an egregious use of CGI. It's terrible. I think it's filmed beautifully. I think there's a lot of it's got the noir lighting down. Like it wants to be Blade Runner. It wants to be like a 1950s noir, but it gets fucking sidetracked by overly excessive action scenes and egregious amount of car chase CGI. And it's just car chase CGI. Like, it's just like, I mean, they go a little violent with the CGI, but that's what it is. Like, I don't know why we need so many car chases that aren't real in this movie, because there's nothing on personally, we're at a point where technology where that's not really impressive anymore to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's the stuff of the 90s that they were doing like Jackie Chan's movies where like they did real stunts with real cars that were super dangerous, but they were really impressive when they pulled it off. It's one of the reasons. What's that? I can't remember the one director did the Transformers movie, Michael Bay. It's one of those like Michael Bay got into popularity. The guy knew how to shoot stunts. He just did. You know what I mean? Like Bad Boys has some of the best stunts in the history.
Movies.
Right? Yeah, it has some of the best car chases and stunts in history of cinema. Bad Boys, like just the stunts are super impressive. There's nothing impressive about fucking building something. I guess it's less impressive to build it in a digital environment and just put it out there because there are no rules, there are no limits, there are no there are no dangers to consider, right? You're just making it in a safe digital space. But yeah, we didn't even get through it. It plays the same beat. Tell me if you heard this story before, Donovan. He's a beat cop that's on the wrong side of the tracks. It gets mad and gets behind with the mob and has to it's.
That sounds unique. I've never heard of anything like that.
Yeah.
Before,
And like we want to do film noir, but we also want to do action. Well, like if you want to do noir, there's actually not that many action sequences in fucking Blade Runner if you've watched that fucking movie. Like there's not that many. There's not like 3 every act. Just it's about the characters and about the story and about the mystery, and like they just goes out the window, and it's overly violent. And how I feel about violence. It's excessively violent for no reason, and I hate that. Have a reason for the violence. It feels like a 19-year-old directing a movie. Oh, it'd be really cool though if he fit the knife off and all this blood went splatting to the other guy, and then he hits. It's just like, what is this? It just doesn't know what it wants to be. Again, it's that genre mismatch thing. Doesn't know action and noir. I think the cinematographer, it's great cinematography. Cinematography in this movie is fucking awesome. Like lots of hard lighting, like very Blade Runner-esque. You can see it in the trailer, like a lot of Blade Runner-esque, like cyberpunk stuff happening. Super cool lighting. Everything else is terrible. We couldn't get through it. Pass. Hard pass.
That's unfortunate. This movie's directed by the guy
says he's
who
seen
made
it
The
to whatever
Raid
movie.
2.
Yeah. Meh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that was about Beer Run.
Oh yeah, Beer Run 2. Yeah, Beer Run.
That was up there. Yeah. This is the guy who directed the Raid 2, which is a very beloved action movie. I don't know. There's something that happens when people there's something that clicks or snaps and breaks in people's brains when they get hired to make a movie for a streaming service, I think. Or maybe it's just a testament to total control and lack of creative oversight. I don't know. But yeah.
It's within the box. We talk about it all the time too, Dom. It's in the box thinking, right? When you have a limited budget, you have to think about how to work with it. When you have a bigger budget, you're just like, oh, we'll just do all this stuff.
We're so far into this. How many original Netflix movies hire beloved directors who have made some of our favorite movies? And then you watch them and it's like, this is kind of ass. And it's the same with like Prime Video, Peacock, Max. They all do it. And usually it's like talented people. It's not like, oh, maybe this director just isn't good. It's like talented people making the stuff. And it's just bad. And it's like, maybe it's something about the streaming model, the way they produce these movies, the way they dole out creative control. Something about it is leading to these projects just not being good. There's like a step in the process missing where somebody's supposed to come into this thing a year and a half before the rest of us see it and tell them to kill it or change this or move this around. I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Axeman?
No, I mean, hey, X. No, you're right. And it's just, I don't know what it is. I think it's just lack of boundaries and total creative freedom. That balance is not struck right. And I think that's why TV shows excel, because a TV show has to make the budget of this movie work over 10 episodes, right? Like they have to stretch it out, right? So they can't have an action scene every 5 goddamn minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have to stretch it out. They have to save the budget stuff for when it is important, right? Not just because, oh, it's been too long since we've seen Talking Heads. We need someone to kill something. And the whole activity, the great cast, again, you said great fucking cast, and it's a bad movie. You have all this talent, and you fuck off with it.
It's always talented actors that you know and like. It's always a talented director. Writers, maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's not like me. It's not like I'm making these movies and they suck. That'd be different. It's established filmmakers. I don't know. Somebody's gonna make a documentary or write a book about this in 10 years, and I look forward to consuming it. But yeah, I don't know. There's just so many bad fucking streaming movies. Yeah, well there you go. I think you've got like dudes that are coming to your house to like give you a new washing machine.
Yeah, any minute. I'm waiting for them to bang on the door.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we could probably get ready to go ahead and close up shop here, as we just spent our second hour talking about movies and shows we have watched. I will be seeing some stuff that I'll review next week on our show. obviously we're fully into the summer season, so you can expect me to come on the show. I'll be reviewing Superman, Fantastic Four is coming out.
Freaky
Obviously, I'm
Friday,
gonna do.
Freaky Friday, right? It'll be first line for that. No?
I'm gonna be reviewing the new Jurassic movie, of
Freaky
course.
Friday was like perfect generation. It was like early 2000s. Like it was right up your alley.
I loved Freaky Friday. I loved that movie. Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis. As a kid, that's what I knew Jamie Lee Curtis from. I'll say it wasn't Laurie Strode Halloween. It wasn't what was the James Cameron movie she did? I'm drawing the blank on. For me, it
True
was Freaky
Lies.
Friday. True Lies. It wasn't True Lies. Growing up, it was like that. She was the woman from Freaky Friday. I love that movie growing up, and that movie is doing very little for me. I'm happy for Lindsay Lohan that she's looking healthy and she's back in starring in movies again. That's good. She was in some defining films of my childhood, but boy, that movie does not look all that enticing. And maybe I'll watch it anyway because me and my friends all have 2000 nostalgia, and maybe we'll just put it on during a kickback. But no, it's not. It's not hitting any buttons for me, unfortunately. At least the marketing.
Trading
is not.
Places.
But
Yeah,
you
you
know
got
what?
Trading Places. Yeah, look at all these classics. They're coming out. They're gonna
Yeah.
do number.
Yeah. But hey, the summer blockbuster movies. Oh, I saw the new Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. It's good. I thought it was pretty good. It's a step down from Dead Reckoning, which was fucking awesome, but it's still good. This one has a lot of like meandering and a little too much talky in circles, saying the same shit over and over again, and showing us clips from other Mission Impossible movies. But it's good. Little self congratulatory, but it's very good. Tom Cruise. I read a theory that Tom Cruise secretly wants to die making a movie, and that's why they just keep increasing the like intensity of the stunts in the
I mean,
Mission
he
Impossible
is like
movies.
I saw behind the scenes of that movie,
I,
and I'm like, wow, why does that seems very unnecessary and
he
dangerous?
jumps from a moving biplane to another moving biplane that's
Yeah.
above it. He grabs it. He stands on the plane wing and he grabs the one above and lifts himself onto it. And I'm like, no, sir. You could not pay
Well,
me
man,
enough money to do
I mean,
that.
once you win capitalism,
Um,
man, like what else is there? What do you do? What do you
but
do when
you
you've
know what?
broken the system?
Because the guy cares about making good goddamn movies. And you know what? That I can respect. I can respect any actor who's willing to put life and limb on the line for a good ass movie. And that's why Mission Impossible works. Because when you watch them, you can feel that it's authentic. You know, when you watch Rogue Nation and they're riding those fucking motorcycles, and he turns his motorcycle like this, and you see his leg flinch because it almost hits the ground. That's because real fucking Tom Cruise was on that motorcycle, and he thought he was about to just remove his leg on the interstate. So you know what? I can respect that level of filmmaking. You don't get that from 99.9% of people who make movies for good reason. You shouldn't put your life on the line to make a movie. But I respect Tom Cruise for doing it.
Well, my friends
X-Men
were talking
says,
about that because he talked about like how he almost didn't fall and he got up. He's like, he walked off his mark. He was like, "Did we get it? Please say we got it." And the camera's like, "I don't want to tell him we weren't rolling. You want to tell me you weren't rolling?" You know what I mean? Like,
"Couldn't tell him
we
weren't
were
rolling."
ready. He went too soon.
Yeah, there's just no way. So many of those stunts. If I worked in the production of those movies, I would have my asshole so tightly clenched watching him fucking set himself on fire and jump off of a cliff. Like, am I going to be the guy who kills Tom Cruise today?
No, it's a team that does
X-Men
it, not an
said,
individual. It's a team effort that kills them. Not.
I know, but yeah, if you're on that team, though, everyone's like, yikes. X-Men says, I saw Prey. It was good. Nice
Praise
action
good.
scenes.
Praise good. Yep.
Didn't get to Prey's awesome.
At this point, you just have to lean
Uh,
into it. You have to lean into something that's been done before and just tell it a little bit differently, and like that's what works. That's
And Prey's a great way
the key. Yep.
tackle that story. I saw The Accountant 1 and 2 and don't know what happens in either. John Berthal was there. The second one's like a buddy cop movie. I saw the trailer for that one. Yeah, people have thoughts on The Accountant. I mean, God, Prey was so good. Great. Well,
When does
I think
Jurassic
with
Park
that,
come out? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that
can't
movie.
fucking wait. God damn, I'm so excited. July 3rd, I think. July 3rd. It's right around the corner. It's like in a couple weeks.
If there's any reaction I want to
Jurassic
see in the
Park
theater, it's your reaction if like they really fuck up a movie. I just want to see Dot. Yep. Well, that certainly
July
was
2nd.
that certainly was a decision. It's certainly a movie.
You hear this? You hear this, people? Greg wants to see me upset. You're not saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see your face if that movie's awesome." You just want it to suck. You just want me to suffer. Well, guess what, Greg? I'm gonna enjoy it because I like the last Jurassic Park movie.
We're
that
on
everybody fucking hated.
7. Oh my god.
Fine with me. Fine with fucking me. We're on the 11th Fast and Furious movie. Let's go.
Oh god.
go.
The Rock. They released a low coaster Universal. I'm like, great. great. That's my worst part of the tour. You went on the tour. The Fast and Furious section is the worst part of the tour. Like it's just
The ride, they're decommissioning it.
yeah, no, not the ride when you go through that like the tunnel and it's like Vin Diesel surrounded by strippers. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? Today we're gonna go have a thing," and I'm like, "Oh
But
god."
that's it's like a ride because it's on tracks and starts like
Oh yeah,
tilting
it
and then they
does.
make you
Yeah,
feel like
it's
a
so
speeding.
bad. There's like a helicopter. It's so bad. So bad.
Yeah, they're getting rid of that. All movie series trying to catch. What did I say?
Oh, I
Is it
saw
22
Godzilla with Bryan
Godzilla?
Cranston on the plane over when we went to Orlando.
2014 Godzilla. Yeah.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
terrible fucking movie. The
Great
second
opening,
Bryan
though.
Cranston dies, I just check out. I'm like, wow, this is awful. Who sets a bomb live before it's at its location? Like, what is going on? Like, that was the most. Oh my god, that movie was a
Dark Knight
nightmare.
Rises. Godzilla does some fun things.
It's fun.
I
It's
think the
very
way
fun.
the way that they obscure the monster for some parts is good. I like the scene where they're all paired jumping like Halo jumping in and then you see Godzilla through the smoke. That was all cool. Just watch Godzilla -1. It's the best fucking Godzilla movie.
Yeah, that's what I need to see. Yeah, I need to see -1.
Dude, Godzilla -1 is so good. That's a movie you watch and you're like you walk out the theater and you're like the indomitable human spirit got to me. Yeah. Xmas said, I'm sorry to hear that, Greg. Yeah, well there you go. Also that's crazy. That's crazy because now that I think about it, you've watched the sequels to that movie. You talked about King of the Monsters
Yeah.
on this goddamn show, which is the sequel to Godzilla 2014.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't, dude. There's too much homework. I just watch when I watch it. I was like, I haven't seen this. I hit that. I haven't.
Oh man. Xmas says Guomo was a better version of that Godzilla. Guomi? I don't know if I'm familiar with the terminology being used here. But what I do know is that ShackPets is free and available now on your mobile device. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here, folks. As our lovely Stream Elements bot is saying in the chat there, download ShackPets on Android, iOS, but also go to social media. Follow us. I gave you the rundown earlier. Twitter, x.com, Shack News. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, pretty much any online service that you frequent. You can probably type Shack News in the search bar and either find us or find somebody talking about us. We're there. And I think we're going to be back to a regular schedule, at least for a little while. So you can expect to see more of me and Greg this summer talking about movies and TV. But until the next time we see you guys, have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Peace out. This has been Pop Goes the Culture.